Nice. Okay, so it's funny you say Caesar. They did Caesar wrong. So there, if I could get two heads like that, if I could get two heads like that, the one that I'm gonna get is Caesar.
Kennedy's the other one.
No, no, like emperor heads.
Oh, gotcha.
And the other for me would be Marcus Aurelius. I mean, and not for like oh he's Marcus Aurelius he's like the Stoic emperor and or Caesar's the conqueror and all that. No, nothing like that. Like I say, it's funny that you say they did him wrong, but Caesar was killed. Do you remember what they said when what the soothsayer said to Caesar?
No.
Beware the Ides of March.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what day the Ides of March is? Do you know what that means? The middle of March, the 15th. I was born on the 15th.
Oh, no kidding.
And then my full name is Mark Anthony. Marcus Aurelius. So everybody always tells me everybody always says hey, Marcus would call me Marcus Aurelius. So I was like, oh, if I could get two heads, one would be Caesar, one would be Marcus Aurelius. Just for no other reason. It's just like a stupid reason. You know what I mean? Like,
That's funny.
yeah, just one of those things, right?
More than one friend in my life was called randomly will call me Artemis Maximus.
Artemis Maximus.
People who don't know each other will call me
Dude,
that.
that's an intense name.
That's a warrior's name.
That's a warrior's name. Okay. People do that whole numbers and names and meanings and all that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of mine. Mine is Mark Anthony, which is a strong name. Mars, which is March is based off the name Mars, the god of war.
Mm-hmm.
15th, Julius Caesar, like all those alignments of that. Like to me, it's a real fight. It's like a real strong fighter kind of thing. And then it's like, well, March is also the Pisces, it's just the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, minus that, everything else sounds tough.
Yeah.
The stone for March is like the fire stone, unless you go by zodiac. The zodiac, it's like a Pisces or water like stone. But
Yeah.
I go with the fire stone. Like
Fire.
yeah, it's like I am a warrior.
A little more intense.
A little more intense. So this is our first time running this at the new setup. So you like it? You like what we're doing? The audio's okay with you?
Yeah. So
You're
far, so good.
like I said, you're the magic man, Ardy. You're the movie man. You're the magic man. I need to come to you for these things. 'Cause
Appreciate that.
Lord knows, me and the crew, we're doing this. We're winging it, but we don't have it down. Like I feel like you're the man with experience.
I mean,
you know?
this is my second time around, so you've got the experience in my book.
No, but you're the one that's working in the movie industry, right? Like
I'm
you're trying to
trying.
break your way in and trying to get known. You filled me in with a lot of stuff last time. Even here in New Mexico, I was like, did not know.
Oh, all the way back to 1912 and all that.
Yeah. I was like really impressed by all that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, sir, cheers.
Salud.
Salud. That's right. I have to dink it. Oh, I was craving scotch. Let me tell you, scotch. So a lot. Okay, so a lot's going on So there's welcome back. Glad that you're back, man. Glad
Thank
to
you.
see you. We've kind of had a chance to hang out for Memorial Day weekend. We went to the wine fest. We got boozy. Kind of enjoyed that, and that's always fun. Everybody comes out of the hood. They kind of dress up a little bit. They try to act, behave themselves a little bit better.
It was a good time. It didn't seem too rowdy.
Yeah, not bad at all. So I do have something here that I think you might appreciate. It came in that little tin can. I put it up there.
Yeah.
Little black ball.
Those are
If I can,
racquetball?
if I can tell you that was a prop in a movie. Does that ring a bell to you at all? You want to take a guess before I go in on that?
Just on racquetball?
Yeah, but not used to play racquetball though.
Why am I thinking of a prison movie?
Not a prison movie.
It's a sports movie?
Yeah.
I'm stumped.
Boxing.
Oh, Rocky?
Rocky. So it's mainly in Rocky 2, not so much in Rocky 1, but in Rocky 2 when he's walking, he's always bouncing a ball.
Right.
I found as close as you can get to the ball that was like the ball he had when he bounces around, when he's walking around and everything. So that's what this is. I like Rocky.
No, Rocky's a classic.
It's a classic for Rocky's a classic for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I like the love story between him and Adrian.
Yep.
You know, like there's that whole story there. There's a story that he's the underdog. He's from the hood, and then the actor
Meredith Burgess.
Meredith Burgess.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had like really bad like bipolar and stuff.
Was
Like-
he a fighter too though?
I don't know if he was a fighter.
Was it Burgess Meredith?
So I didn't know that he played. I didn't know that he played the Penguin in the Batman.
Oh, that is him, right?
That is him. And so he had like a really bad bipolar, and so they were during the day when they were on set, they were always all dressed up because if Meredith
I think it's Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith,
Yeah.
and
Such a weird name.
yeah, it is a weird, and especially because he's like a man's man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it's like
There's two ladies' names for
yeah,
badass.
maybe like two negatives make a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he like such a man's man. But
A boy named Sue.
I know, boy. I mean, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. But no, his mood swings were so bad because he was bipolar that they had to catch him at the right mood to play the Penguin. So he would come off like really conniving. Apparently, he had some issues he was dealing with.
Way
La-
to use it.
Way to use it, like he used it right in his acting. They say they think that actually made him a better actor.
I mean, yeah, I guess that really is what acting is
His
pulling yourself through to your character.
last movie, Burgess was in.
The last movie, wasn't it one of the Rocky movies?
No, Grumpy Old Men.
Oh, I never saw it.
And he plays a wisecracking, like the granddad of like, oh, who, like, okay, Grumpy Old Men has some really good names in it, right? Like it's
Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau, yeah. He actually played like, was it Walter Matthau's father, or he played the father of the other old man, Jack Lemmon.
Oh, Burgess did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems more like a Jack Lemmon's dad to me.
Okay, yeah. So he played Jack Lemmon's dad, and then you have in one of the older Margaret.
Yeah.
She was like the one that played the fox. Like it was Ossie Davis that played Chuck. Like there's some really good names in there. They like Walter Matthau.
And they're all dead.
They're all dead. Yeah,
It's like there's certain cast ensembles that you're like, oh yeah, they were great, but they're all dead. Like
dude.
Cocoon,
Yeah,
all those people are dead.
I know they're all dead now. I mean, great movies, right? Okay. So I wanted to start off talking about an actor on here, and let me see if I can pull it up real fast. Now that I have an actual laptop, now I'm not trying to do it on my Surface anymore. I'm gonna have to retire that thing.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson. What do you know about Charles Bronson?
Charles Bronson, Escape from Alcatraz. Wasn't he an actual vet?
No. The actor.
Yeah.
Was that the movie he was in, Escape from Alcatraz?
I think he was in Escape from Alcatraz, and he did like Death Wish.
Yeah,
all
he
those
did
movies.
like a lot of those hardcore movies, right? And do you know? In 1945, he was a gunner on a B-29 Super Fortresses. He flew 25 missions over the Pacific Theater, and he got a Purple Heart for wounds. But I don't know the story, but like the story of when he got his wound is like a pretty legit like it's a hardcore story. You know what I mean?
I don't know it. Like I
Like-
knew that he was served, but I don't know beyond that.
Oh man, I want to see if I can find it real fast. Like he like had something on, like something about his story was stupid intense. Like you wouldn't believe it. It was him. And then he goes on and becomes an actor. You know what I mean? Like, but he was in World War II. I didn't know he was in World War II. Again, the Super Flying Fortress over Japan. Let me see. He was drafted. Charles was drafted in the Army in 43. Was assigned as a truck driver. out of Kingsman, Arizona. And then let's see here. I want to see if I can find this. There's this. He has like this amazing. He just had like an amazing story about going through hell. All right. At one point, he took a bullet in the shoulder, which added to another scar to his already scarred, already crevice torso. His time in the cramped gun turrets. So he was in the gun turrets. I wonder if he was a belly gunner. So he had bouts with claustrophobia for the rest of his life because of that. I have to look it up, but like apparently, like him getting wounded, like was pretty intense because he was wounded. He kept on fighting, like he's just one of those stories that you're like, this guy, Charles Bronson, like he wasn't just like a badass in movies, like he lived the life.
He's the real thing.
He was the real thing. So I wanted to start off with that, like the man, like the man, dude.
And there weren't a lot of like. That's just like one in a million type of guy that you really kind of don't see anymore in movies.
I would say for that generation, is it one in a lifetime? Because for that generation of men, that kind of
you don't see that anymore.
You don't see that anymore.
No.
Like you think about Audrey Murphy, he was another actor.
I don't know him.
One of the most decorated guys, or if not the most decorated guy in World War II. He became an actor after World War II, but he saved like a lot of guys' lives. And at one point, they said he jumped on a Sherman tank by himself, and it was on fire. It's on fire, it's getting ready to explode. He mans the machine gun, and he holds off thousands of Germans. Like, I don't know if it was a whole division or if it was like, I don't know what size it was or how many platoons it was or whatnot, but he held off a whole bunch of Germans by himself, manning this machine gun on a Sherman tank while under fire, while the Sherman is on fire getting ready to blow up.
Wild.
Like, yeah.
And then got out.
And then he became a movie star.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There's a World War I movie coming out here pretty soon, and I want to catch it. And I like catching World War movies because I'm kind of a history nerd, and I kind of like saying like, is it plausible? Because like I don't know, like you don't know, like no matter how much we study history, we don't know the nitty gritty details, and I think that's where Hollywood takes like liberties in making movies. And I mean, you've probably seen this a lot, but that's where they really backfill a story because everybody knows, Lusitania sank, America joined the war, and we fought in the Argonne Forest, and we did all this and that. But like those nitty gritty stories that they don't know in the day to day, I think Hollywood really
embellishes.
There we go. They embellish. So there's a new World War I movie coming out. Like I think it's based like on some English guys, and I really want to check that out and just kind of be like, could that be true? You know what I mean? Could that be legit? I don't know. I have a thing about World War One.
Do you prefer looking into that than World War II?
No, because they're vastly different. They're vastly different. World War One was the end of the empires, the end of like if the American Revolution was the match that just started bringing down the house on the monarchies, like you know what I mean, like American Revolution, give the finger to the English monarch, and then the French supports the Americans, they go broke, and the revolution movement sweeps France, monarchs overthrown. Like if the American Revolution started it, World War One was the final nail. Bam.
Interesting.
Yeah, especially because all the main players who were fighting each other, it was a big family fight. They were all related. The Tsar, the King of England, the Emperor of Germany, they were all related. The Archduke Franz Ferdinand that was assassinated in Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
He was related to he was related to like the nobility of like Hungary and Germany. They were like all interrelated. You know what I mean? So you get to that, you get to World War One, and they're all pissed at each other, and they're all rattling their sabers and all that. World War One goes down, the map's redrawn, completely redrawn. As a matter of fact, you could even say modern day Palestine, that stuff's going on right now in the campuses with Israel and all that,
Yeah.
started after World War One.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's the modern day map that you see today that people are fighting over started at, and it started with I used to know the name of the treaty, the World War One treaty that divided up the Middle East.
Oh, it's not Versailles.
No, one treaty, but it laid the basis for modern day Middle East issues. Let me see if I can find it real fast. It's a little thing, but there it is. It's a little thing because like the Middle East, there were clans, and there's Bedouins, and you might have the king, like the king of Jordan, and you have like the a king in Saudi Arabia. You might have a kings here, and they have their kingdoms, and they have like there's all these Bedouins that are traveling, and you have all these clans that are loyal to this person or this person. But the modern day Middle East issue, it really took off after World War I with a Sykes-Picot agreement, and it was a private agreement between France and Britain on how they were going to carve up the Middle East.
Whoa.
So, like modern day Iraq and Jordan, those boundaries were made by the Sykes-Picot agreement.
Wow.
Those weren't like historic boundaries. Now Jordan's been there forever. Syria's been there for millennia.
The Arabs got split apart. It's the Persians that stayed together.
But they the Persians have been there for centuries. I mean, hell, the Persians fought Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Like the Persians conquered the Hebrews, but they also gave them their freedoms later. Some of the people that play like the Syrians, I guess you could say were lightly related to the Assyrians prior to them.
Yeah, but they're more Arab still.
Right. So they're more Arab, right? But those clans are all there. But the modern day countries that were carved out came because of Sykes-Picot, and then Britain said we were going to rule these people. France was going to have these colonies, all after World War One. But then all the monarchies were turned upside down that were left. Look at the German emperor. He never regained rule of Germany ever again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hungary, the Hungary Empire that was related to everybody, and at one point ruled all of Europe, where
That's crazy.
came to an end. Do you know what I mean? The Habsburgs,
Yeah.
like the Habsburgs that like laid claim to all of Europe, they're gone. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
World War One that ended. World War Two, you could say, because they say World War Two is like unfinished business from World War One, especially with the way they treated Germany. Germany became like the banana republic. They were so in debt to everybody because of what happened after the end of World War One, the reparations. They wanted to humiliate Germany. So the Germans were wanting a leader. They were wanting somebody to pick them back up and bring them back to glory. So it was ripe for somebody like Hitler to come in. And I was listening to a professor from the War College talk about a lot of stuff like war history and all this stuff. And I don't recall her name just yet. She made an interesting comment. She said, when Germany annexed Austria and then Czechoslovakia, had he stopped there and he didn't invade Poland, like had he stopped right there and Germany would have been a lot bigger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And had he stopped there, she said, what would have been interesting is he would have been praised as a brilliant leader. But instead, he didn't stop there. He invaded everybody. He eventually broke his agreement with Russia, invaded Russia, which led to the overall downfall. And then with the rest of the Allies invading Europe, and then what came about with the Jewish people, the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So he in essence he didn't stop because he was a psychopath, but it was just kind of interesting to hear her say, like, had Hitler stopped invading everybody after he invaded Austria and Czechoslovakia, he would have been praised as probably one of the world's greatest leaders, and there would have never been a World War II.
Yeah, but his ego took over.
His ego took over. Yeah, his ego completely took over, went for the rest of it, did what he did, and he's a complete psychopath. But it's kind of an interesting take on history, though. You know?
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those makes you wonder moments. But so when you say, do I prefer one or the other? No, I don't prefer one or the other because they're vastly different on the reasons why they were fought. Technology was different, everything was different, and
It's trench warfare more so, right?
well, trench warfare is going on in Ukraine right now.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, and we could talk about that here in a second. But what's sad about World War One? World War Two is bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll never know how many people truly died. Some people say like 80, 90 million. Some people say up to 120 million. But ultimately, they'll never know. Like, so many people died and were just thrown in pits. Big old mass graves. So they don't know. But what's curious, though, is World War One, although it was like millions, I don't know. I don't know what the casualty count of World War One was. I'll put that in. World War One casualties. World War One casualties, 40 million. So, by any means, 40 million to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
insane number. A lot of kids went in there like World War One with like a mentality like God, King, and Country. You know, and they went in there, and the way they were just led across the battlefield. That just
In the name of a person.
in the name of a person.
Yeah.
And they were doing it, it was the right thing. We're going to go fight the Huns. And to see that when we study World War One, we just kind of gloss over it. And it seems like it's almost like a forgotten history. And I say this to everybody all the time. Humanity as a whole is like a people, a civilization that lives in amnesia. Like the lessons learned 20, 30 years ago, much less 100 years ago from World War One, over 100 years ago now. Over 108 years ago now. Like, we live in amnesia. All that stuff people go through. Like, and I mean, and again, you can relate it to what's going on nowadays, anti-Semitism and all this stuff. And I know there's a lot more going on to it, but the world went to war, and like Jewish people were almost wiped off the face of the earth.
Yep. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, so you think about like we live. We're a civilization that lives in a constant amnesia of the past.
We forget the past.
Big time, and it is what it is. Like, and I don't think there's no way around that.
No, because you hear a lot of people complaining that history is rewriting itself and we're not learning from our past mistakes. It's just...
Okay, so Ukraine.
Yeah.
So Ukraine, they're still at it. Like, Ukraine's been at it. Geez, have they been at it for 2 years or 1.5 years?
I think we just hit...
Was it like...
2 years. February. I feel like it's February.
Is it 2 years now? Yeah. Let me see here. Russian-Ukrainian war. God, the fact that there's a Wikipedia on it already. Well, it says escalation since 2022. The article it says the war's been ongoing since 2014 because that's when they went into Crimea, and then they went into Donbass also. But then the escalation was 2022, and I don't know when in 2022 it was. They started their build-up in 2021. Okay, February 24th, 2022. Yeah, we're already in 2024. So they've held on over 2 years now after the full-fledged invasion. And they're doing the same thing, though. It's full-on trench warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to this lady from the War College, this professor from the War College, it was curious to hear her talk about it. She says, the United States, we've been at war for 20 years. but we've been fighting insurgency, going after terrorists. We're not. Yeah, our guys are out there. They're fighting and they're dying. There's no taking away from that. Horrific stuff's going on to everybody from Iraq to Afghanistan. Both sides, whatever. But nobody has fought a full-on war, a full-on slug it out war since World War II. Until nobody's fought a full fight it out war.
Vietnam or
Korea, possibly Korea, but even Korea was considered a police in action.
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah. But so they're saying, it's continental Europe, I guess, when they say it that way. But since World War II in continental Europe, except now for Ukraine, and the fact that we thought Russia was the eminent power of that side of the world, and Ukraine's held on. They've held on by tooth and nail at times, I think, but they've held on. Wow. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of intense to think about it. You wrap your head around it. Kids younger than us, guys our ages.
They have no idea.
Everybody's all fighting. And it's funny when there's people going over there doing interviews, and they're interviewing the Ukrainians, people that were retail, art, everything, just everything. Guys said, "Oh, I was going to college for this, or I was going for, design, and I was doing this."
Yeah.
Every walk of life in Ukraine was mobilized. Everybody's fighting.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Athletes, everybody.
Non-athlete. The most non-athlete guy. They're all fighting in a war to save their country. And I think Russia made a fatal flaw in that they went in and did that, because if Ukraine had any semblance of being Russian, it's gone now. They're like, fuck Russia.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So that's got it's kind of curious. And Ukraine started launching missiles deeper into Russia recently. I don't know if it was missiles or if it was drones, but they took out some massive radar sites in Russia. And Russia's talking about doing a tactical nuclear strike on them now.
Whoa.
And that's scary too, because it's okay, so if Russia does a tactical nuclear strike, the world says we're not going to tolerate that no more. So does that mean everybody's going to go to war with Russia now if you drop a nuke somewhere?
Possibly. But then what if Israel does it not long after?
Well, who's Israel going to do it against?
The Gaza Strip?
I sincerely doubt that. They have nothing to gain from it. They have nothing to gain from that. They'll turn everybody against them, because right now, Israel, they have the support of the Saudis. They have the support of Jordan. They're on friendly terms with Egypt. The only ones that they're really not on really good terms, besides the Houthis, is a tribe out of
Yemen,
is Iran. Everybody else has made their peace with Israel in the Middle East. I don't know where Iraqis is,
they're busy.
But essentially,
rebuilding.
Everybody else has made peace with them. So it's would they? I mean, and nobody's even condemning Israel for what's going on in Gaza in the Middle East.
It depends on who you ask.
Well, the Houthis, obviously.
Oh yeah,
but even Jordan Arabs, is Egypt Arabs, Syria Arabs. Nobody wants to intervene on the Palestinian side to help them out. Yeah, send the refugees over. We'll take them. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Outside of the Middle East or inside the Middle East. Now everybody else around the world's yeah, send them over here. It's why doesn't Egypt help them? They're they have more in common than we do.
Right.
They have more of a common history. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't think Israel has anything to gain at all from dropping a bomb. That would be the worst thing they could do, a nuclear bomb.
Right. The worst PR ever.
Yeah, everybody would be against them. They would lose everything at that point.
Yeah.
Everything that they've worked to gain, it would make absolutely no sense. But again, I've been known to be wrong about stuff. I'm not a geopolitical anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
You're just an enthusiast.
I'm just an enthusiast. Yeah.
It's very interesting. And then now, especially with the Iranian president dying in that helicopter crash.
Okay. I subscribe to a lot of channels on what's called Telegram. I don't know if you know what Telegram is?
Yeah, it's through AP, right?
Yeah.
Or they're involved with them, but
No,
it's
no,
like
no. You're thinking of the news station like the Telegram or something like that. No, Telegram. Do you know like WhatsApp?
yeah.
So Telegram is like another peer-to-peer chat network. I think it was actually started in Russia,
Oh, crazy.
and it's 100% like private. People use it all over the world, just like you use WhatsApp.
Cool.
So I subscribe to a number of news channels and bloggers that use Telegram. So like when things blow up in Mexico with the cartels,
Yeah.
I get pictures of that stuff, gruesome pictures, and it's like
No holding back.
no hold back. It's like these people are medieval.
Yeah.
And then like when things blew up in Ukraine, like the day of, I got like pictures on the ground that day. Like,
Yeah, I think when we did our last episode, you were telling me about it, and you were talking about how, yeah, you were seeing images of what was happening on the ground over there.
okay, so when Israel was invaded by the Palestinians that morning, it was like really early morning here, like 3 a.m. or something.
It was back then, yeah.
And that morning, my phone was blowing up all night, and I was like in my you're half asleep, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And I was looking at my phone, I'm like, you know what I mean? I was just like,
Festival.
and I was like, Ukraine, the Russians attacking Ukraine. Like honestly, I remember thinking that like at 3 a.m. because I was like half asleep, and I woke up at 8 o'clock, and I'm like, Israel is attacked, and then like pictures of kids on the festival on the ground, like no holds back, like not stuff you're gonna see on NBC, Fox News, or CNN, like no holds back. Like it's like me being, had I been there, said, oh man, this person has their head blow off. Click, hey Ardy, look at this. That's the kind of stuff like at 8 o'clock, and I'm like, what the hell happened last night?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, oh, this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And so I was glued to the news all day that day. So I subscribe to a lot of those Telegram channels. Like when it hits the fan, I usually find out about like the
Damn.
minute it happens.
I need to get on that.
Yeah. There's some really good ones on there. Anyways, not to get away from things too much. So, what's going on with you? I mean, that's good. This is like a hard left segue here because I can go on about war
Sure,
and
same.
news and all. Dude. Like, if you want to talk politics, wars, and news, like, and if that's all we want to do,
We can go back to it.
I'll go balls deep in it.
Yeah.
I'll go balls deep. Like,
There's a time for everything.
there's a time for it, and it's a very important thing. But you're also like the guy that I know here that has like a different connection than all the other people I talk to. Like when you were telling me about the New Mexico movie industry and what your plans were, that really sparked an interest in me. So I kind of went like, what's the updates with you, man? What's going on?
So since last time we met, just been continuing doing the auditions, doing like, my regular day-to-day work, getting bills paid. But
Yeah.
when it comes to that, like, got renewed for another year with my agent.
Very cool.
Yeah, summer's picking up, so getting a little more auditions. There's going to be something filming here in Cruces.
Good. There's like a significant amount of movies coming this way.
I mean, hopefully, like, summer and spring seem to be the busy time. Summer more than spring.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's ready to move, temperature's just right. We sell the state here based on, you get at least 300 days of
300
sunlight.
days. If it's not in New Mexico, very little snow unless you're up north.
Sure, it happens.
Probably more chances of wind though, right?
Most definitely.
And if you're filming out in the middle of nowhere, probably the chances of hearing the train blow as it's going by.
Right, if you live close to the main street, for sure. That's like a definite. But I mean, you could, depending on the movie, you could use it in your background or not.
Right.
For your undertone. But yeah, as far as what I've been doing, like, I mean, I could be, networking and going to different events, stuff here and there. I just don't have the time for it now. So I'm just focusing all of my time on improving the audition process, communicating with my agent, and making sure that I turn those in time. I actually have one due for Wednesday morning, but
Turning in your what?
auditions that I'm getting sent. So the morning, it's kind of funny. Like the night before we went to Winefest, there was a posting for, all ethnicities, certain ages, and the casting director, I knew who it was, so I, like, went and emailed her personally, sent her my info, said if there's anything in cruises they think I might fit, let me know. And she goes, oh, actually, you're, like, it was kind of nice to get the confirmation. She was like, oh, your agent actually, she already submitted you for this, but I don't see anything that you might fit in.
Okay,
like,
quick question about, you said auditioning.
Yeah.
I think of auditioning, and when I think of auditioning, and I mean, let's be quite frank about this. What I see on movies, you go to like an office, a bunch of people sitting there, and they're reading some quick lines.
Right.
You go into a room, you might have a couple of people there listening to, and you read some lines.
Yeah.
Yes, is that true? Is that the way it is, or
that is the way it is? Pre-pandemic, that was every audition. That's how it was. After the fact, now it's the first one is done through Zoom or through video. So
like all the time now.
Now, yeah, that first wave is like the one that I got for this week. I get sent notes and instructions on how to slate, which is introduce yourself, say your name, it could be a variety of what they ask for you during that slate. It could be your height, it could be the city that you live in, it could be whether you're represented or not.
Yeah.
Then you do that, and you submit the video as they ask, and you send it in. If they like you enough, you get a call back.
You do a video of yourself of the audition.
You can do it on your phone, yeah.
And you read the lines.
You can read them, but ideally you want to show that you can memorize them. So,
are you
like you can get off book and then shoot yourself doing it?
So if I'm doing an audition now, I'm just doing it like this.
I mean, you would probably set that on a tripod so that your hands can be free and you can be free as a character.
If you ever need a tripod,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Like, I know my gear's not like.
No, your gear's perfect for audition
like everything
stuff.
You need now. You let me know.
You have everything. You have like the mics, the camera. I'm like, even after this episode, we could possibly even shoot my audition. Who knows? If I was ready, we could give it a whirl. But essentially, the first one you do on your own, and the second one, if they like you enough and you do a callback, then they do a live one. I've done one where it is through Zoom. What's funny, they sent me one about 6 months ago, and I had COVID at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to submit and try because, like, if I'm sick and I'm not able to shoot. And they said, you know what, that's fine. We'll do your callback via Zoom. I gave it a shot, but no such luck. If that doesn't happen, then you get scheduled to meet.
How crappy would that be? You get COVID, you're really sick, and you do the audition, and they just love it. Yeah. And then you get better, and you come back, and they're like, dude, your voice was more raspy.
I bet that happens.
You had a real down aura about you. Now you're just different. What happened?
They're like, you're too happy-go-lucky. You're not who we thought you were. Yeah, I'm sure that happens. Thankfully, not to me.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure that there's been one or two actors where they're like, they sound like they got laryngitis, and then it doesn't work out. It's like, how could I recreate that? You could probably smoke some cigars.
You ever watch Friends? Of course you watch Friends, right?
Yeah, I love Joey.
Do you remember the one where Phoebe got crazy sick and she's singing and she has like a very a raspy singing voice, and she's all singing. She's all singing with a raspy voice, and there's like a huge crowd coming, and she goes, "I don't believe it. People like love me." She's like singing like, "I'm so low," but she's sick.
So that smelly cat got punky.
Oh, yeah. And so, but then when she gets better, nobody liked her at all. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to get sick again. Like one of those deals.
I mean, yeah, I've seen that episode. I love that. It's pretty silly, definitely. That's one of those, like, episodes that was written, you could tell, it was, like, during Seinfeld when it was at his height, and you get just those weird, genuinely situational, comedic situations.
Like the Seinfeld humor classic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is like that. It used to be like that. You would go wait, and there'd be people waiting there.
Yeah, it used to be like that from the get-go. Now it's a hybrid of that. You do your first in video. Thanks so much. Your first in video, and then the second one will be in person. Like the last one I did was at the Atriums over in Loman. Thank you. And yeah, man, just still trying. Like, I feel like I could be studying more and probably perfecting my craft, but it's so hard, man, when you're trying to do essentially like 3 jobs at once,
Yeah, I remember the days.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the days of having to work 3 jobs, and
like eventually, if I can have some enough income to where I can be like have some fuck you money to where I can focus on my craft and work out a little more, I would do that. And I'm hoping to do that real soon.
So, some people go to school for acting.
Yeah.
Real benefit? Do you think there's a benefit to that?
I think everyone should go to school. Even if you're just like wanting to be a director, you should go to acting school. If you want to be an actor, go to directing classes.
Yeah.
Just look at the both sides of it, because really the best actor's director is going to be someone who's done acting themselves, or at least done an improv class. You know what it's going to be like to try to pretend in front of the camera, as opposed to being the director and you're trying to create the image or the picture of the story that you want to tell.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're the painter, but as an actor, you're the model.
What would be your style as an actor? And let me ask you like this. What is it called? And I know there's a name to it. I just can't think of it. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, method acting.
Method acting.
Yeah.
Like I read stories about him method acting.
Yeah.
Like balls to the wall method acting.
Right. Like I think one of the biggest roles that he had, I haven't seen it, but I want to, just because of how intense he is and the subject matter. But there's a movie called The Boxer that he was nominated for early. And from what I understand, I've heard Rogan say that that's the closest. It was even better than Scorsese and Raging Bull. That was the closest he saw to an actor, not only looking like a boxer, but portraying, and he was genuinely training. I think he was doing a fight camp for that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so he even did a fight camp.
It was better than Southpaw. It was better than the Fighter.
1997.
Yeah, so that was one of the big ones that he got nominated right around the time that he did. What was it? The Last of the Mohicans and
yeah. Okay, so there's a picture of Daniel Day-Lewis right now.
Right. Is he skinny?
He's old.
Oh, he's very old.
I can't believe it. Because my image of Daniel Day-Lewis is
The
Last
Butcher?
of the Mohicans.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Like,
when I picture him, I'm thinking Gangs of New York.
yeah.
Or
oh my God.
Your Milkshake. What was that movie? The oil movie? Where he's like the crazy guy. There will be blood. There will be blood.
I have not seen that.
Dude, put that. So we both got to put Boxer on our list.
Okay,
but
Boxer.
There Will Be Blood, I think, is one of the craziest portrayals.
Okay, so where's his movies at? I'm on the IMDb real fast.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can pull up his movie.
I need to watch Last of the Mohicans again, period.
Dude, that is just a great movie. Historically, kind of accurate, but kind of not. Like the liberty taken on it, but
as they do.
But the overarching storyline is, it's there. Okay, another great movie. Oh man, this one is very it's a movie I watch when you have those moments and you're like, everything just sucks, and you're just kind of down, and you want a movie that kind of strikes me deep. Lincoln.
Oh, I haven't seen that, but does it end really sad?
Well, of course. Yeah. I mean, if you watch a movie named Lincoln, you know how it's going to end.
Right.
You already know, right?
But did they like really lay it on with like Mary?
There are scenes in the movie where he's going through like he's going through like a battleground, and you could just see him like looking around and like
all bummed out about the Civil War.
Yeah. Like you could I think he does a hell of a good job. Okay, so that movie's good for two reasons. So he does a really good job of you can see the gravity of what's going on in his face. And like that's something like Daniel Day-Lewis, he must just be a great actor, but if I could envision Lincoln, it would probably be like that. And you could see it on him. And then the way he speaks. If I could hear Lincoln, I imagine it would have been like Daniel Day-Lewis. Just like...
Damn.
So, and then in that movie, Lincoln, and let me see. I don't know if I could pull the cast up on it or... you know what I mean? But I've seen it so many times. But Lincoln, I'm going to type in cast. Because it has Tommy Lee Jones. And he plays like this guy named Thaddeus Stevens. He was with the House of Representatives, I believe. And Sally Fields, she
Plays his
played
wife?
Mary Todd Lincoln.
Wow.
So all these people like that played these roles, but they played them so well. And Tommy Lee. Okay, so Daniel Day-Lewis is the main actor. Like he's like what do they call that? The main actor, like the star,
The lead.
the
Yeah.
lead. Okay, Tommy Lee Jones' role in that movie and portraying that moment of history, phenomenal. Like, and you've got to imagine. So slavery. It's an institution in the South. It's a part of America. It's an institution that some people do not want to give up. You have some people that see it for what it is. It's horrible,
Yeah.
you know. But then you have some people. It's a generational way of life, and so you can the way Tommy Lee Jones, if he's playing a real life person who really lived, I would hope it was just like that, because he the way he gives the argument, it's like, okay, this is not about slavery. This is like about humanity. You know what I mean? Like, that's the argument. It's about humanity.
Right. They're fighting about states' rights and human rights.
Yeah, it's like, okay, then like, and he had this one line in there, something about, oh man, like towards the end he had this one line in there. I just can't think of what it was. It was phenomenal. Like the way he's like trying to push for the 14th Amendment.
Is he trying to justify slavery?
No, he's fighting it. Why it should be overturned?
He's
Why
a Democrat,
why slaves should be freed?
or rather he's with the Yankees.
Yeah, and it was
Thaddeus Stevens.
yeah Lincoln. Let me put this in. Tommy Lee Jones quotes, and okay, here it is. So he's like fighting. He's trying to fight for the 14th Amendment. And a lot of people are against 14th Amendment, which would have given, which would have ended slavery. And so that he's playing Thaddeus Stevens, and he's in the House of Congress, and they're debating it. And he says, "How can I hold that all men are created equal, when here before me stands, stinking the moral caucus?" Oh no, wait, hold on. That was a good quote though. Let me see here. But it was right at that time he says that line. How can I hold that all men are created equal, when here before me stands stinking the moral carcass of the gentleman from Ohio, which the guy from Ohio is fighting to not pass the 14th Amendment.
Of course.
Right? And he goes, proof that some men are inferior, because he's talking shit to this guy from Ohio.
Based on his
rep.
and his mental state. Yeah.
Yeah, just he's talking trash to him, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, endowed by their maker with dim wits, impermeable to reason, with cold pallid slime in their veins instead of hot red blood, you are more reptile than man, George. George being the rep he's talking to. So low and flat that the foot of man is incapable of crushing you. And that guy says, "How dare you?" And Tommy Lee Jones and Thaddeus Stevens says, "Yet even you, Pendleton, who should have been gibbeted for treason long before today, even worthless, unworthy you ought to be treated equally before the law. And so again, sir, and again and again I say, I do not hold with equality in all things, only with equality before the law." So, in the argument of slavery, he's not saying it's about slavery. It's just playing it forward. It's equality. Equality before the law. It's equality. And even you, that I hate you so much, and I think you're a dirtbag, and I think you're lower than scum, even you deserve that right. And I thought that line was genius. And in my mind, when I saw Tommy Lee Jones playing that movie in Lincoln, when I saw him saying those lines, I was like, God, I hope it really happened that way.
And it sounds like it did.
It
seems like it did.
I really hope it went exactly like that, because That's the kind of thing, like, if I were living at that time, I'd be like, I'm sold. 14th Amendment, let's pass this.
It's not that long ago. Like how hard it could be to get it that inaccurate. It's really not that long ago.
It's only like 150 years ago.
A generation and a half.
Generation and a half. Like, your granddad's granddad.
It's crazy.
That's it. That's how far. Like, talk about amnesia. Like, humanity is amnesia. We're talking about, like, right now you and I think slavery is inherently wrong.
Yeah.
But yet, your granddad's was probably somehow involved at that time to determine, hey, is slavery wrong? Like, it's not that far
crazy.
away from us.
Like one way that I like try to like understand how quickly time has been past us, and like, I mean, you're not that much older than me. Like, if you think about it, I was born in '83.
I appreciate you saying that, because instead of saying, Mark, you're older than dirt. But no, thank you.
We're around the same age. We're in our 40s.
I think our mutual friend is probably a little bit older than both of us, but that's cool. That's cool.
I mean, even they could pass for 40s. Like, it's weird if you think about it. Only 20 years before I was born, TV was in black and white, and Kennedy was getting shot on live TV.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King was giving speeches in black and white.
And he was killed. So there's okay.
And he did.
And it's curious, because we're talking about this, like, man, I hope history happened like that. There was oh man, I'm trying to go through my movies on Apple, because I like buying movies on Apple, because I could watch them in Spanish as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the app that translates them or what, because I when I use them on YouTube, it's, I can't say to my friend, oh yeah, let's watch it on YouTube, because there's no way for me to translate it or put it in Spanish. But when I do it on Apple, it seems like I can get it. I can get it in Spanish for some reason. I'm trying to find this movie, and let's see. Give me 1 second. The Pianist, Memphis Belle. You can see what kind of movies I've been on. Oppenheimer. Jesus, it's. I'm just trying to find genres, movies. I don't know. It's about the 8th Air Force. Heroes in the Sky, gentlemen. Hold on. I'll find it like right now, because I go to one movie and it shows me the links of like related movies. And oh my God. Okay, so we're talking about the liberties. We're talking about the liberties that like Hollywood takes, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me put this. Apple movie about the mighty 8th. Not Heroes of the Sky, Masters of the Air.
I've heard of that.
Okay, so it was like it's like the last of the war movies that they've been dying to make. So Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, because what was the first one they made? It was Saving Private Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Saving Private Ryan, and then The Pacific,
Right.
about the Marines, which.
Well, Band of Brothers.
Okay, no, you're right. Band of Brothers, and then The Pacific.
Yeah.
And then they've been planning to do one about the 8th Air Force, about the bombers going over Europe. Because, and this is what, like, I was talking with some of the guys that were on the show once, and I was telling our friend Dario, I was like, do you know the Air Force in World War II lost more men than all the Marines in the Pacific did?
What?
And Dario's here, Mark Monger's here, and Dario says, dude, you're wrong. And Mark Monger's like, no, he's actually right. The Air Force lost more men over Europe than the Marines did in the Pacific. And look, the Marines went through freaking hell.
Right.
So that was like kind of the last of the trilogy for like those Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg movies or series, a miniseries. And it was called Masters of the Air. They came out on Apple TV, and I was waiting.
Oh, is that out?
Yeah, it's already out. Like as soon as it came out, paid the subscription to watch them all. Waited every week or every 2 weeks for them to come out. So, there's a saying about this, and I can't think of what the saying is, but history is almost better than the movies.
Right.
And so,
One sec. Do you mind if I do a bathroom break?
okay, we're
real
going to
quick?
do times out, right?
Time out.
Game off. Oh, game off. Game
Game
off.
off.
Run. Go.
I'm going.
I mean, we need, at this moment, we need the whole Wayne's World. Game on. Game on.
Car off.
I mean, we utilize that here. Wayne's World, Wayne and Garth, game off, game on. Okay, so for a minute ago, we were talking about Masters of the Air. Okay, and I used a quick minute to look this up again to make sure I was kind of talking about. And so we talk about like how Hollywood does this whole, they embellish things,
Right.
or they
Cut stuff out that shouldn't have been like.
right, but yet history is almost more exciting than the story that's portrayed on movies.
Right. It's like the book's better than the movie.
Yeah. So, and Master of the Air. So it's about the 100th Bomber Group, which flew over Europe, and the 8th Air Force was like, or the 100th was called the Bloody 100th because they lost so many planes. It was like a bombing run where they, at the worst of it, it was like called Black Thursday or the Black October, like a week in October, where the 24 planes went out and only one came back. And you're talking 10 guys per plane.
Damn.
Like, so 20 planes in just one group, 200 guys gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they're taking stupid high losses. We were doing precision bombing and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So the Masters of the Air is about the 8th Air Force, and the losses they were taking, and they follow some specific guys. It was written by this one guy who wrote the book about it. I don't even know what his name was. He's actually one of the guys in the movie, the navigator guy. So, anyways, so we're talking. I didn't learn this till afterwards because I was like, I wanted to learn more about it. I knew some stuff. I wanted to learn more. So, again, keeping in mind that real life is kind of even. I don't want to say even better, even more exciting, because that's such a horrible way to say it. But it's like it's almost unbelievable. So there's a fighter, one of the bomber pilots. His name is Curtis Biddick, friend to everybody. They all know him, and on one of the flights, his plane was really badly damaged, and he brings it back and he crash lands it in Scotland, and they're saved and everything. Now in real life, like in the movie, in Masters of the Air, it just shows them like they take damage and they're on one engine and he crash lands it. Now in the real life, what happened was they're at a high altitude. There's no oxygen, so they had like an emergency oxygen tank, and the pilot and the co-pilot were breathing from it and switching it back and forth, and so they wouldn't pass out.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So like minor detail left out. Okay.
Sure.
So in the movie or in the series Masters of the Air, Curtis Biddick, his plane is damaged, and it's severely damaged. It's going down. He didn't want to leave his co-pilot. He's like, I'm going to land the plane. I'm going to land. He's going to land the plane, and he's coming down. And at the last minute, it must have hit a tree. When it's coming down like this, it must have hit a tree there over the fourth, and like, done. That's the way the movie shows it. They're being attacked. He takes hits. He goes down. He tries to level out, loses control at the last minute, and him and the co-pilot are gone. And I don't know how many of the other guys jumped out by parachute, or what have you. Masters of the Air. That's the way it was. I mean, when you watch it, it's pretty excited. It's like, oh crap, and you're like watching, is he gonna land? He's all clearing, and then at the last minute, you're like, he's dead. Now, real life, he did die. Curtis Biddick did die, and so his plane is hit, and there's a fire in the plane. And so, what I learned about B-17s, the flying fortresses. Not the B-29s, which are super flying fortresses that were more in the Pacific, but the B-17s, Germans would attack them from the front, and they would shoot up the pilots. But what would happen was when they shot up from the front of the plane, the oxygen tanks were behind the pilots, and they would explode and consume the whole plane in flames.
Oh, damn.
Very rarely would somebody get out, right? So, so what happened was they got hit in the front, and I believe. I don't recall if the co-pilot was hit or not hit, but there was an explosion, and the whole plane goes up in flames, and he's trapped in the cockpit, and he's on the mic telling everybody to get out, and everybody's trying to get out, and he's trying to hold control of the plane as long as he could, while the cockpit is already getting like
Engulfed.
engulfed in flames. So and this is like the guy from the show Masters of the Air. So kind of close to the Masters of the Air. In real life, what happened? They say he opened up either like the side door or the window because the cockpit was engulfed in flames, and he climbs out the window and or the side door, like right by the wing, and he gets on the wing of the plane, and to jump. So he to jump out and to parachute to safety. And I don't know if he pulled it. The way it sounds like is. And there's accounts of this. There's accounts of this happening.
I've heard this story.
He pulls the chute.
You're right.
Right. Do you know what happens?
So he pulls the chute. He's on the wing of the plane, and as he tries to depart, the parachute gets pulled by the tail, and he's stuck to the tail of the plane.
That's this guy. And not only like the account of it is not only is the plane going down like so. It's not like going straight down. The plane is losing control and it's starting to go around this way.
Dude, so he's spinning this way and spinning this way.
So the plane is going down. His chute got caught to the tail.
God. He didn't know where he was at.
And he's flying around in circles as the plane goes down. Like, maybe they didn't want to talk about that because it's pretty horrific to think about. But, like, talk about, like, life being...
I'd want my story told. Like... know what I endured even on the way out.
Wow. Like I don't even know what to make of that.
No, because I'm picturing it just based on what the very little I know about aerodynamics. If a plane's spinning out this way like a Black Hawk does,
yeah,
and there's wind going into a parachute, he's spinning around on the tail.
He's probably getting caught up,
probably getting strangled as it's happening.
As it's going down.
Yeah.
And the plane's going around this way, so you're very disorientated. There's very little oxygen. So, and then, like, the article I read said, like, there were German fighter pilots actually saw as it was happening. So somebody saw it that recorded it. I don't remember if it was the American pilots that saw it, or if it was the Germans, or if it was both, but they saw this happen.
Crazy.
Like, what the hell? Like... if you're trying to show a movie about these guys and what the crap they went through,
you should show it. I'd want it to be shown.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to say about that though.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. So that was Curtis Biddick. And so sometimes I wonder, is it better to take the what do you call it? The
Liberties
that Hollywood takes? I mean, like, what's your take on that? Like,
I think that it should stay true to the character and the life. If you're gonna tell a person's story, use their name, use their likeness, give them the honor of showing the way their life was started and ended. If we're gonna do a life story, fine. We don't always have that opportunity, especially with war heroes, because we know that they went to boot. We know that they were Americans.
There's also the fog of war. Maybe we don't know all the details.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some concern of like, okay, well, we don't want to embellish, so we can only use what's been confirmed. But if German forces or other homies saw him, like, oh, yeah, he was spinning out.
Let me just say this. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Your parachute got stuck on the tail of the plane?
Yeah. He probably got strangled. Like, thinking about...
oh my God. I can't even envision that.
Like, that's a way to go. Like, if you're going to cross over...
my God.
Once you cross over, you're like, oh, okay, now I'm dead. Because the shit that I was enduring at the end there, it was spinning around like a fan. Plus the fucking plane's on fire. Plus
like,
it's on fire.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, I'm glad the series got made. And again, talking about amnesia of humanity... I don't know if the kids, unless you're a historian, would you have known that the Army Air Force took more casualties than the Marine?
I mean, if you're doing your research, yeah, you're gonna know that.
Everyday Americans, kids nowadays, you know what I mean?
They have no idea.
They have no idea. They have no idea what our forefathers went through to free England, the save the Jewish people.
Their kids at my work who were born after 9/11, they have no idea what that was like.
Wow. Okay, what year were you born? It's 83?
83, January of 83.
You're 5 years behind me. So you remember 9/11?
Oh, clearly, it was my senior year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
I think we talked about it last time.
I think we probably did.
Yeah. Like it
Wow.
was like the first semester of my senior year, and
Talk about like just altering. I don't want to say like, geez, talk about your senior year just
Sure,
being
sure.
like rained on, but I mean, so an event that altered all of American history from there on.
the world changed
The world
overnight.
changed.
I mean,
But-
forget gas prices. It was
And
like,
to correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you watch that happen, or on the day it happened? Maybe you didn't see it, but like watching the video afterwards, did you watch that feeling like everything changed now?
oh, absolutely.
It was like our Pearl Harbor.
Oh, most definitely. So I woke up that morning, and if you go back and listen to the other episode, I think I told the story of I woke up that day. I was late to my street law class, which was my first 8:30 class at Cruces High, and I go in my grandma's room because I'm like starting getting ready for work or for class or whatever, and she goes, "Mira, mijo, la televisión," and it's that footage, that famous footage of that first plane hitting the building. And she and I were under the agreement, like, oh, some pilot was drunk. This is a mistake. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, thinking that it was like not intentional, thinking
Right.
like somebody made a mistake for the first, like however long you were watching it, like first 5-10 minutes.
Mhm.
I remember thinking that too.
And I remember getting ready, getting my car, driving from Vado to Cruces, getting out of my vehicle and running to my friend Otilio. I'm like, hey, bro, did you see that plane hit the building? He
Yeah.
goes, oh, both planes. I said, no, it was just one plane. I saw it. He goes, no, man, a second plane hit within the last 20 minutes. And that's when it hit me. I was like, not only did I know that we were at war, I knew, unfortunately, because of my bloodline, most likely guys who are wearing turbans did it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that, like as soon as you know that second plane got hit, it's like, oh, this is an attack,
Yeah.
and someone in the Middle East is behind it.
Well, what country were most of those people from? Do you remember?
I believe they were Saudis and Pakistani.
Primarily Saudis.
Yeah, I mean they were
Primarily
mostly Arab, but there were a couple of Persians. There were
Yeah.
Iranians involved. I think there might have been an Indian guy or two.
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. All I know is like the majority were from Saudi Arabia, and
I think the main guy was Muhammad Atta. He was the main
the one that planned it.
yeah, so Bin Laden was definitely behind the funding and the planning.
Right, because he was he had lots of money. His family had a lot of money from.
But Muhammad Atta was the guy that was here. He was one of the guys that the flags went off for the guy in Florida, like the guy that was doing the flight school, like, oh, why don't you want to learn how to land? Like that was one of the
Right.
big things that they like the red flags that someone was like, okay, it's very strange that these guys who like even during training they'd have arguments like yelling at each other about how to do it. Like it's like, dude, yeah, there's not very good communication there when you have that
That's
hierarchy
nuts.
and the
That's
egotism.
nuts. I did take my first flying lesson. It was like kind of like a gifted to me.
Nice. Yeah, Jeanette
Very
was telling
cool.
me that you and Dario were
Very
doing that.
cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's an opportunity everybody should do. I mean, it's funny that we segue from 9/11 to this.
No, sure. I mean,
Bad segue.
Yeah.
Bad segue.
it's unintentional.
It's unintentional, but how cool was it? And okay, in the gal, she took the plane up. Obviously, she's going to take off. I don't know, and she landed.
Yeah.
But once I was in the air, how freaking cool is it? Like, here's the control of the plane, dude. Go ahead.
Oh man, you don't want to give me control. I'm gonna do barrel rolls if I can.
And like they had they were Cherokee planes. Cherokee. I don't know who makes those Cherokee.
Like
ones.
a Cessna?
Little two-seaters.
Yeah.
And they had they're in the hangar. They had like some planes there. They were open. Little 4-cylinder engines. That's it.
A 4?
That's it. It looked like two Harley motors, and they're just boom.
Dude,
like
that's
that.
wild.
Not a big
wild.
engine. Like if you know anything about motors and all that, or engines and all that stuff, you're like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why I correct myself when I said motors, but then I said engines? Do you know why I did that?
No way.
Because a car does not have a motor; it has an engine.
The main block, yeah, it's the engine block.
It's an engine. It
has other motors around it.
No, it's a combustion engine, a motor, and I'm sure this is very technical, but the way my father told me is a little electric motor is a motor.
Like the starter that I changed today.
Yeah.
So there's a
I would
starter,
say
but
same.
the solenoid is its own
That
motor.
turns it. It has its own motor. It's
Right.
electrically. I don't know if it's because it's electrically driven, and if that's the difference. Whereas like calling something an engine, it creates its own combustion and it creates its own power source. Whereas maybe like a motor is supplied the power source like electricity. I don't know. Random segue.
Yeah.
Which is that's Mark if you know me. But anyway, so okay, so. Any good movies to kind of keep your eyes on coming out right now? I want to hear your take.
So I noticed that you talked about you mentioned Oppenheimer. I haven't seen that yet, but I really want to just because it took place here.
I liked it,
Yeah.
and again, the history nerd I am, and then I am such a science nerd also.
Were you able to hang on to the dialogue?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I took it in, and like historically and everything, legit. Okay, I was good with it. Not that I'm the one that you should go to determine if it's good or not, but I
Right.
took it. And I thought it was good.
Right. I mean, there's that. I haven't seen the new Dune yet, which I really want to see.
I want to see the new Dune.
That needs to be watched in theater. We should go watch that.
We should watch that.
'Cause-
You know what? I don't want to say mandate. Bros night.
Bros Night.
Bros night. There
Absolutely.
we go.
I'm down.
I'll even sneak in whiskey just so it's more masculine.
Oh yeah, that's a must.
It's a must. We'll see if Dart is down with that.
Yeah.
But, dude. Or if not, we'll go. Dude, I'm down to watch.
No,
Dunes.
yeah. Let's plan that soon before they pull it.
Okay, 2 movies I watched this weekend, and you can give me your take on it. Civil War.
I haven't seen that yet. You've seen it?
Yeah, just saw it
Okay,
today.
no,
Got it on Apple.
How is that?
Interesting. Okay, so
I heard it's not what you think it is.
it's not what you
Like,
think
it's
it is.
photojournalism, essentially.
Right. And in the case of journalism,
Or
if you're
war,
looking
war journalism, to be
war
specific.
war journalism. Okay, yes. I think I wanted more. Like, why was there like these Western states? Why would California and Texas secede together? They're as opposite politically as it gets. Like, I wish there was a bigger picture painted, but okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Why was everybody so dead set on killing the president that when they finally do catch him, kill him? Right? It's not like, hey, let's catch him, take him. No. So, curious. And I think all these war movies, the old war movies were very dependent on acting. Like, you had to show it in acting.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have the props, you didn't have the pyros, you didn't have the computers or anything to make it look so real that you don't know. It's cool.
It's all in the persona.
Yeah. Like everything in Civil War, like the helicopters, the explosion, everything. It was like, all right. I think the movie Civil War in my take, and you should probably watch it and give me your take. I mean, maybe this is what we should do. We should watch a movie and we will do a compare and contrast. You take it from your perspective. I'll take it from my perspective. But my perspective of the Civil War was, and I kind of thought about it in terms of the original Civil War, American Civil War, brother against brother. I remember like thinking of like
Children.
I remember thinking like you had Lincoln and I have what I call the 3 horsemen of the apocalypse in my mind. President or General Grant, Sheridan, and Sherman. They like Sherman had some sort of quote, and I'm going to butcher it. I'm not good at these quotes, but something about like the only way to get slavery out is to completely annihilate it. You have to just destroy it. And he did his march to the sea, burnt and landed down. He says, we are going to destroy this. There's no other way around it. Boom. March to the sea and burnt everything in his path. That was Sherman. Sheridan fought with Grant, and he fought with Grant. And I'm trying to think of the battle when they're trying to encircle Richmond. But, and I was thinking, like, we read about the Civil War, and you see some pictures. And it was bad. And there was a lot of hand fighting, and I kept on thinking, like so in the Civil War, the movie that just came out, there's some movies where you see, like, crazy stuff that's like that we would call atrocities.
Yeah.
And I kept on thinking about the original American Civil War and then this movie. Americans, if we were to go into a civil war, it would be bad.
Now it would, yeah.
Like I think us as Americans, we have the capacity to go to no end to fight for and do things that we wouldn't do for our cause.
Yeah. I can
And
see
so and so if we were to fight a civil war, it would be bad. I think the stuff we would do to each other would be horrible.
Yeah.
Do I think there'll be a civil war in America? No, I don't believe it.
No, I don't think so.
And I think that because politics aside, I still think the majority of Americans are good people. And I think stuff like veterans that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan, as they're getting older and they're growing up, they're having their families, the things they saw overseas, I think they would not want to see happen to their loved ones.
Right.
So I think they would go to hell and high water to not let something like that happen to us.
Hopefully.
In my opinion.
Yeah, hopefully.
But we have idiots here too.
We do have a lot of that.
But like I say, and I've said this before to other people, but I believe that America has a lot of good people that when push comes to shove, they'll get involved and they'll do the wrong thing. And I don't think they get involved in a lot of modern politics right away because they're busy. They're busy. They're providing for their family. They're putting food on the table, paying the bills, they're going to work, community stuff. But when stuff gets a little bit crazy, they get involved. They get involved with local politics, state politics, and these are the people that stand up to do the right thing. And like I say, my heart of hearts, I believe there's still a lot of really good Americans. Modern media, I think, it shows that the clips, the snapshots,
right.
That what do they call that? Modern media, it's like not clickbait, but it's like where you just get those snapshots of 10-second, and sound clips and all that,
like sound bites and
all, and I don't think that's the whole picture. You're just repeatedly showing the worst of the worst of the worst,
right?
And you're showing that 10 different ways. But that's only a snippet, because I think the greater part of America is good people doing the right thing for everyone. Like you could have a Caucasian guy that lives down the street, and a Mexican guy that lives down the street, and a black guy that lives down the street, and they're different. They have different background, different ethnicities, but they'll do the right thing because they love their families. They want to see their families protected, and they're going to do the right thing for their neighbors.
Hopefully.
And I think we have a lot of people like that in our country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Different backgrounds. We have different Christian beliefs and all that. Or maybe they're not even Christian. Maybe they're just different beliefs. But they believe in this idea of liberty, and they'll do the right thing.
Hopefully so.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. You say hopefully, but I think we have a lot of those people, a lot more people wanting to do the right thing than the crazies.
Time will tell.
I was waiting for you to say hopefully. I was
hopefully.
waiting for you to say hopefully.
I'm trying to be a realist here.
And then, okay, so that was the Civil War. And you're right. It's interesting because it's a war journalist movie, and it's like you want more out of it. I wanted more out of it. I was like, well, give me more of the lead up to it. I mean, it's exciting. It's a cool flick,
Right.
but I kind of wanted more from it. And then the other movie I just saw, Ryan Gosling,
Fall Guy.
cool flick. I like it.
Yeah,
Cool
I haven't
flick.
seen that yet. No.
I mean,
Was that on Apple as well?
yeah, I bought them on Apple. Okay, here's my deal. And I grew up in the time of LimeWire and what's the other one, the original one?
There's Napster.
Napster. I grew up in LimeWire and Napster and all that. And man, it's like I could download this whole album. So I grew up in all that. And I could see why actors and musicians and then people didn't like it because
They're getting ripped off.
they're getting ripped off because they actually. I don't know what an actor makes. I don't know what a musician makes. I don't know if the corporations make the majority of the money, but people are working, and it's a product. It just like I would not go to Walmart and steal a gallon of milk. I shouldn't steal a movie. So either I'm going to rent or I'm going to pay for it. And I'm glad I paid for it because I'm going to watch them again.
Yeah, I mean, when it's Apple, you always own them, right?
Yeah, you own them. Hopefully, if the grid doesn't go down, you'll own it forever, right?
I mean, that's why I buy DVDs still.
Yeah.
Blu-rays, just in case.
Okay, so the last time we were talking about, this is what I was kind of wanting to ask you. The Actors Guild strike.
Oh yeah, that's over now.
Okay, so what happened? So you're like, well, you told me about it, and a lot of it had to do with Netflix, what actors get paid, and all that, right?
Right. There was a lot of So there were a couple of things, but I think the biggest one was actors' likenesses being stolen.
That's right, and that kind of had to do with Bruce Willis too.
So yeah, he sold his likeness to, I think it was a Russian production company.
Really? Do
Like-
you think he got paid good money for that?
I think he got paid a lot for that because, I mean, you'd hope so. He's on his way out, and
Is this something I need to get looking at? Like, hey, I know I make a podcast. I've got 20 strong followers, and maybe down the road I'll have 21, 22. I don't know.
yeah.
Is that something like somebody like, or like you're just getting started? If you get,
I mean, I'm hoping I will never have to worry about that. I'm hoping that, I mean, I'm not leading any movies. Like, it's once you
But
start doing those
if
type
you
of
envision
projects.
yourself making it, you make it, you make a name for yourself.
Right.
Is that something you would consider like
Protecting myself from?
like a licensing deal for your likeness after you're gone?
Oh, yeah, I'd have to do that. I
Would
would
you-
most
would you
definitely
do
have
it?
to. I would most definitely do it. Just because, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with data and.
Would you license your likeness though?
The way Bruce Willis is?
Yeah.
If I retired from acting. If I got too tired to go to set and was like done with it, then maybe. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as there would be some type of deal where I'm getting maybe 20% of residuals back, then yeah, why not? Like, if
I
you're
mean,
going to use my likeness.
Assuming that you act till you're 80, and then you decide to retire, you're not going to act anymore, and then you die. You die when you're 85.
Right.
Hypothetically, I'm not wishing anything bad on you.
No, sure.
I like you, Ardy.
I like it too, man.
Yeah.
80 is a good time.
So and here's my sense of it, because my buddy just wrote a book, and I said, "Good for you. If a man wants to live forever, write a book.
All right.
If a man wants to live forever now, he can also license his likeness to movies.
You could, yeah.
So essentially, Bruce Willis is at a point where he can live forever.
He'll never die. Yeah, his image will always be out there. As long
He'll-
as there's copies of Pulp Fiction floating around.
He'll be like Tupac, and there'll be new movies coming out of him.
That'd be cool if they do a hologram of Bruce Willis at the next Coachella.
Is that possible? Will that
Yeah, you
could
could-
something like that happen?
You could probably do that.
So you would be thumbs up. You'd be all down for that.
I mean, if it's worth it, if I'm generating enough money and like
Yeah.
enough box office dollars, then yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so going back to the strike. Okay, so that was a part of it. So what happened with the strike? Well, how did it end? Because I knew the strike was going on vaguely, but I didn't know about everything you told me.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So our current president, Fran Drescher,
Fran Drescher.
Fran Drescher she was at the forefront of the fight, trying to set up deals with execs, and they were shutting her out. They were like, "We don't like the deal that you're bringing to us." They were offering shit deals, like giving people, they're like, "Okay, yeah, we'll meet you in the middle," and then not providing that. And I guess SAG held their ground. Fran Drescher and everyone that was behind her, they held their ground, and eventually executives realized, you know what? At the end of the day, this is a people business, and we need people. So,
Wow.
yeah, they
Did they cave in on everything?
So from what it sounds like, I haven't really looked into it. I'm gonna be honest with you,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
but it sounds like it's a good deal for actors now and in the future, and
Wow.
just hopefully people can be protected. But that's not a definite, because now, did you hear about the Scarlett Johansson thing with AI?
No.
So apparently ChatGPT had approached her within the last few years and saying,
ChatGPT, the people from ChatGPT.
yeah, the AI people, they said, listen, we like the sound of your voice. We think it's comforting.
I love the sound of her voice.
I do too.
I
I
mean,
think she's very, like, I mean,
I'd like to say a lot of inappropriate things right now about that.
oh,
but I'm
I
not
would
going
too,
to.
but
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for her and Colin Jost.
I'm a guy, and I would say it either way. But that's just me.
I like the movie Her. I think it would have
Which
fit.
one's her? Oh, that's with a Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, and she was the voice in that.
What a crazy movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're like there now.
We're pretty much there now.
We
It's
are there
actually
now.
her voice.
Yeah.
So they had
right.
approached her, and they wanted to use her
A
voice.
very attractive voice.
I mean, a very attractive everything.
Everything. Everything.
Everything.
God bless that woman.
And she had said, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with that. Please don't do that. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll our separate ways and
So,
use someone
so
else.
the company GPT asked her to use her voice for the Chat GPT
For the AI, yeah. So
and
they
she
could
said
talk.
no.
She said no because she wasn't comfortable with it. Within the
What?
past 6 months, it was revealed that the female voice that they used sounds just like her. They ended up going with something that sounds just like her. She ended up suing. She sued ChatGPT, and now they're hitting her back, like saying, "Hey, we actually found an actress or someone who sounded like you. It's not you. Our apologies." And they went ahead and got rid of the voice.
Oh, so they just
They like settled by. They ceased and desisted.
Chat GPT,
They did. They ceased.
and and she got it.
I mean, she didn't get any money since she fixed.
Wow.
I guess they went back on that action and they saved themselves a bunch of money because I'm sure she was probably asking for a lot. Likeness is no joke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean the odds of them finding somebody that sounds like her, plausible. There's like 9 billion people on the earth now.
It is, but if had they found someone like her, they should have stuck to their guns and said, "Listen, it's not you. We can prove." And they didn't do that. They caved, which tells me they were lying.
What? Okay, good point.
Yeah.
If they caved, they kind of if they went ahead with it, that means they were lying.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to
But
produce
you know what,
evidence.
though? They probably make so much money. They probably could have just settled with her cash-wise and continued to use her voice.
I mean, depending on how much she was asking.
Do you know what the subscriptions for ChatGPT is? It's like something like $20 a month or something like
It's
that.
it's kind of up there for the
And you know, like
average
a lot
Joe.
of people use that. A lot of people use
Yeah.
ChatGPT and subscribe.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're probably making hand over fist money. They probably could have given her a good chunk of money and continued to use her voice. I'd love to talk to her if it was her voice.
right.
Okay, speaking of ChatGPT, so the original ChatGPT is like on version 6.
Right now,
Yeah,
I thought they were on 4.
I think it's up to version 6. I could be wrong, maybe you're 4, but they're on version 4. ChatGPT, or 6, I mean. So they're ChatGPT and AI and all that stuff. AI came out. ChatGPT AI developed its own ChatGPT 2,
It made its own.
and it called itself ChatGPT 2, which is actually far superior to the current version of the original ChatGPT, which is out now.
What the hell? Like
Freaking Skynet's taking over.
Yes, yeah.
Like, what the hell?
We're gonna be dinosaurs.
We're gonna be dinosaurs. They're taking over. They're taking over. Like the program. I know that was easy. That's exactly what happened with ChatGPT.
Oh, that was easy.
The AI redeveloped its own program in a better format than what our most current version, either 4 or 6 versions later, that we thought was high tech.
It's probably thinking I'm gonna wipe out these hybrid monkeys
Oh
so
my
quick.
God.
They don't even know what they just did.
Okay. Here's a theory for you. Okay. Think about it this way. Technology, if mankind came to an end right now, okay? And if it's not chiseled in stone, and if it's not like on a super sturdy paper, within 100 to 500 years, most everything that we have would be gone. Anything that's technology-wise, like metal, some sort of metal, would be gone. Right? So if there was a ChatGPT program, AI was super involved, but the world came to an end, in 1,000 years, would there even be any evidence that we succumbed to like the ChatGPT thing?
Not if it wanted to get rid of the evidence.
No, like just say huge catastrophe, asteroid hits the Earth or something.
I
Ice
think it'll
Age.
be probably like the Matrix. At
Would
the
there-
end, there's robots and people. I think we're so resilient that we'll fight it off somehow.
Well, I mean, I'm not even saying like a war with the robots. So just like if humanity came to an end and AI was involved in everything, but massive catastrophe, asteroid hits the Earth, and electric grids go down from the EMP pulse from the asteroidal impact, all electricity goes down, and humanity's at the verge of extinction, and 10,000 years go by. Because have you seen a car that sits in a field for 100 years?
Yeah.
There's nothing left of it.
No. The Earth eats it
And
up.
that's like within 100 years.
Yeah.
So can you imagine over 500 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years? Right? There would be nothing left.
Right. We'll start eroding. Yeah.
Right. So would the next civilization be able to say, like, hey, there were humans here and they had a chat GPT. They had like this AI thing that was starting to get up. Would they even know that we developed technology that far?
Computer chips have begun.
So, right, they would all erode. Even the plastic at that point would start to disintegrate because it's 10,000 years later. We've only had plastics for like the last 100 years. We don't know what happens to it over 10,000 years, how far it'll degrade, right?
Yeah.
So if there was an advanced civilization 20,000 years ago, times of the pyramid,
We wouldn't know.
boom. That actually was my question. If there was a crazy AI intelligence helping humans back then, and they had advanced technology made out of metal, something that would rust or something, and there was a massive catastrophe, would there be anything left?
We wouldn't know. No. There could have been more than one ChatGPT. We wouldn't know.
And we wouldn't know. ChatGPT could have remade itself 3 different times, and we would have never known. It's just an interesting thought experiment.
I mean, no, it makes sense. They say the Sphinx is 10,000 years old.
They say it's older than that.
Older. Well, yeah, that it got buried.
And I always, whenever I ask a random question like that, I always take it back to the Model T. Ford
Yeah.
came out like in the 1920s, Model T.
Yeah.
And every now and then you drive by like a farm field or like on the back road or something, and you see a car that's like from the 2030s or something, and is sitting there on bricks, and it's like 90% rusted away now. So if a car is 90% rusted away in 100 years, and that's only 100 years, that's only, like you were saying, we're like 2 generations away from the Civil War.
Yeah.
It's still, a car is almost completely rusted away within the window of one generation.
So our cars are going to be gone by then. Like, unless they get used often, right? Does the oil and, like, I wonder, does
Yeah,
the
an engine,
cooling.
an engine lasts longer while it's being used because the oil runs through it and all that.
Right.
Right, and then the maintenance you do and all that, because they say when an engine sits and you do a cold start, it does more damage to the engine than when you constantly run it.
Right.
Right, but still, it'd be kind of the whole idea of like, if I left a vehicle outside for 100 years, would there be anything left of it? There'd be very little left of it. Even the rubber tires would rot. So what would happen to that car if I left it outside for 500 years?
Who knows?
Who knows, right? Okay, going back to the movie, just a random thought experiment. I like to throw that out at people.
You got some of the ice?
Oh, hell yeah, I've got you, man.
I'm down to my last bit of Bang, so
Oh, God.
We're gonna bang it
I
up.
love this drink.
Yeah. that blueberry is nice.
I have sincere issues with Bang Blue Raz. Okay, so things coming down in the movie biz. Okay, quickly. What is the whole thing going on with P Diddy Combs? Like, okay, I kind of I've seen it in the headlines, but I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. Like, I like going down the rabbit hole. I like going down Jeff Epstein and starting learning about that and all that.
You need some?
Yeah, I'll get myself some. What was the whole thing behind? Like, you're the guy I'm going to go to and ask this question to. What was the whole thing behind P Diddy Combs? What was that
I don't
all
know a
about?
lot, but I have a lot of questions, and it all goes back all the way to the early thousands.
Okay, so like, what were your questions? Let me ask you that. Then.
So my question started, like, I heard these rumors that he and Meek Mill were in a relationship.
Who was in a relationship?
Him and Meek Mill. Meek Mill's another young rapper who's coming up.
Okay. Like a male rapper.
Yeah, male rapper. I think what really sparked all this and the catalyst to the start of all this was so his ex-girlfriend had sued him for allegedly trafficking her, like pimping her out to other
Really?
guys. Like, he made her sleep with other people and like was using her to like hit on guys. Like,
Well, I mean, was she super attractive or something?
yeah, she's a pretty girl. She's very pretty and much younger. And out of nowhere, they settle out of court. And not long after that, I see footage of 2 2 of his houses get raided by the feds. I don't know what happens there.
I heard about that. I heard about it.
I mean, that happened at least a month ago, and he hasn't been arrested, so that's kind of fishy in itself.
Yeah.
Then he got sued by a completely other girl for very similar stuff.
So he's been sued by 2 girls at this point.
By 2 girls. Still no arrests, which is weird.
Weird.
And then people are alluding to the fact that he might have been involved with the killing of Biggie, which is weird because that was his homie. They were tight, you know.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Biggie Smalls.
Yep. So I mean, this is a layman's attempt at just what I've heard, and then more recently, the feds go to his house, nothing happens, which is weird. So it makes me wonder: is he being protected, or are they building a case against him? Probably.
Right. Oh, okay, that's a good point. Are they protecting him, or are they just staying quiet to build the case?
Right. Is it
Okay,
the cabal?
that's curious.
Is it Illuminati or not? So then finally,
Is this very similar to the Jeffrey Epstein thing?
I wouldn't be surprised if Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and P. Diddy were all different sects of the same fucked up pyramid.
Wow, that's an interesting correlation. Like, I don't keep up enough with
Sure,
Hollywood news.
it's all theoretical, but all of those things happened post Me Too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. So P. Diddy's like he's a lot of investigations. Where's it at now? Do you know? Like
Last weekend, video came out of him basically beating the shit out of that girl that sued him. They were outside of an elevator, and he's like beating her like a man,
like
dude.
an old video or current video?
It looks like it's about 10 years ago, 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
And it's definitely P. Diddy, and he's like punching her in the face. She falls to the ground. He punts her in the head.
Wow.
It's fucked up. It's like it should have never happened. Clearly,
Right.
very different compared to the the Jonathan Majors case.
Yeah.
Like that guy was running away from his ex. That's
Right,
a
yeah.
completely different story. That guy they're screwing over bad. While P. Diddy, still no arrests.
Wow.
So I have no idea. I'm thinking we're just gonna wake up on, like I was joking with Danielle and Jeanette. Like, watch, Wednesday morning we're gonna wake up and feds are gonna be arresting him, or
It's going to be like a Jeffrey Epstein case where
he might die.
he hung himself mysteriously when the cameras were turned off.
Mm-hmm.
What was that one guy that they said committed suicide, but he shot himself twice in the head?
I mean, there's the Enron guy. There was the There's the Boeing.
There was another guy that they said he committed suicide, but he had shot himself once in the chest
Right.
and then shot himself in the head.
It wasn't the Enron.
Was that the end run? I don't know. I just know the vagueness of the story of like how ludicrous it is. It's like you shoot yourself once in the chest, and through the pain, through everything you're going through, and you're not thinking, "What am I going through? Let me go ahead and finish myself off."
I mean, it's possible.
It's plausible. Okay,
You're like,
I'm
I'm
open-minded.
dying. Fuck, this hurts, and then boom. But I don't see that happening. People usually die or bleed out or pass out when you get concussive trauma, whether it be from a bullet to the chest or the head.
Oh yeah, you would
You'd
totally
knock out. Someone
bleed
would
in and
find
bleed
you.
out, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you shoot yourself in the chest and you don't die. But then again, that's how Van Gogh died. Van Gogh shot himself in the chest and he didn't die for a few days.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I knew that he had hurt him. Like, he had, like, mental issues towards the end of his life.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Van Gogh's the guy that cut his ear off and mailed it to the girlfriend.
Yep.
But I also heard that Van Gogh would do his best paintings when he was like crazy, but it's plausible that he would go crazy because of the lead in the paint, and then they would send him to the insane asylum or the psych ward. He'd be cleared up because he's not painting, so the lead gets out of his system. He'd get
Maybe.
released. He would start painting again, get lead poisoning, go crazy again. I mean, that's
Because I know he was painting a lot while he was in the mental institution.
Was you? I don't know.
One of his greatest ones was sitting under an almond tree, and that's right next. Like, that's one of my favorites. If you look it up, it's very blue and turquoise, and you see like the leaves right above him, and you can clearly tell that from his perspective, he's looking up and then drawing it, and Yeah, it's one of his most beautiful paintings. I can't remember if he was in Amsterdam or in Paris.
It's called Almond Blossom.
Almond Blossom.
And like he's looking up into the tree.
Yeah. He was in the mental institution at that time. That tree's not
Really?
far from the institution.
Curious.
Yeah. So he was actually, so after he had shot himself in the chest, he actually wrote Theodore, his brother, some letters.
He shot himself in the chest. I didn't know that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not an art guy, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I've been to the museum that his family did for him in Amsterdam.
Really, is it
Yeah.
pretty legit?
It's amazing. So there
Wait,
were
hey,
signs.
You've been to Amsterdam,
Yeah.
you dirty whore.
I went to the red light district, didn't engage. I've seen, I didn't touch. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy seeing how beautiful some of these women were. It's like, holy shit, that's somebody's future wife probably.
Wow. $200
$200
to go see it.
I guess to get an escort for an hour. They had like prices on the doors. It was crazy.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like each room you could look into was just like a glass
So it's
window.
like going to a fast food restaurant where you go in and you see the menu with all the prices of what you can have.
I mean, kind of like that, but we were walking through the alley, and each alley had different rooms with like big old windows and like a door.
Uh-huh.
And in through that window, you could see this like gorgeous girl in lingerie, a bed, a TV, and like a bathtub for you to use before you
Really?
do your thing. So you're essentially paying for companionship, the bed, and the bath.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. So aside from that, is Amsterdam pretty cool?
Aside from that, it was beautiful. I mean, I liked everything that I saw. Aside from that, I went to Van Gogh's museum. I went to Anne Frank's house, which was crazy. Walked through the canals, got lost, ate 250 milligrams of edibles, and then got lost. Couldn't find my hostel for about 90 minutes.
Hosteling, that's cool.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I mean, this was probably 6 years ago, so like 35, 36.
Okay. I didn't know this. There's like an age limit in hostels, too. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
So-
I don't know how old I was when I went to Hawaii.
So you have to be at least a certain age, or you can't be over a certain age.
Both.
Crazy.
And I was still in the window, and I think I was probably in my early 30s, so I was still in the window where I could stay in a hostel.
Nice.
But granted, everybody there
In
was
Hawaii?
young. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
And it was like the cheapest deal there. I was still pretty poor. And I stayed in a hostel, and it was like pay $15 a night to stay in that room with all the beds where everybody sleeps at.
Yep.
Or I paid like $30 or maybe less, like $25 to stay in a room by myself. And I was like, that's dirt cheap. Hell
I'll go by myself. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it was like half, it was kind of like half a room, half open patio
Yeah.
in Hawaii. It was gorgeous. But staying in hostels, like, it was a cool experience. Nothing like that.
I need to do that before I get too old.
You got to. And it's nothing like the movie, like that horror movie
That
Hostel.
movie that's just a premise. I'm sure that shit happens in Eastern Europe. I'm
Yeah.
sure it
in
does.
the old Soviet bloc somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit. You got to be careful where you stay.
Oh my God.
But we were right on the canals, so we're okay.
There's canals in Amsterdam.
All over the
Like
place.
kind of like Venice like canals.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is crazy cool.
So the people in like paddle boats. There's whole tours, like big ass boats of people.
Is that like high on your list? If I could tell you, like, hey, you should go here, would that be one of them?
Oh, that's top 3. It's
Top
like
3?
that, Costa Rica, and then
Well, that's the Costa Rica is like next on my list of where I want to go.
Dude.
You know, if I wanted to run away and get away from everyone else in life, I'd go to Colombia.
No, I guess not.
I'd go to Venezuela.
Venezuela. It sounds. That reminds me of
Yeah.
the Alex Jones meme.
Oh, what's that?
So the first half says if you give a mouse a cookie, and the second half is Alex Jones freaking out. It's like, I gotta find it.
Alex Jones meme about I'll Google it real fast.
I know I have that saved.
When we don't have an audience here that can hear me out, we'll talk more about that.
I'm down. I gotta hear a lot of your Colombia stories too.
Alex Jones, let me see, a beam about a mouse. Mouse not quite in the house, but way too near. Are there more? I don't know. You'll have to find that because I don't know. I didn't know this. And speaking of Alex Jones, I got into Alex Jones when 20 about 2010. Not long after 9/11 and all that.
Yeah.
I think
No.
Barack Obama was still in jail. Or in jail. Oh, wow. Wow.
I was like,
No. He was still president.
same
And
shit.
For a good second, I got hardcore into Alex Jones.
No, me too.
And it's easy to start thinking that way. Like,
Found
very
it.
suspicious of everything, and everything's a conspiracy theory. And if you give a mouse a cookie, we're going to turn into Venezuela. That's funny. It's Alex Jones, like his iconic thing, like if you give a mouse a cookie, we're gonna turn into Venezuela.
the frogs are turning gay.
But it's easy it's easy to look at everything in the news and start saying everything is a conspiracy theory. And when I got to a certain age, I started thinking like, I gotta stop. I heard a saying: if you go to a party and you don't see the weird guy in the room, be careful because it might be you.
Might be you.
And I started thinking, am I that weird guy? And I was only into that for like a short amount of time.
Right.
Then I had to like ease off of it because I was listening to Alex Jones and Michael Savage. He's another guy too. And man, I got on that bandwagon hard, and I had to get to a point. And I think it's a healthy thing for you to look. I think it's a healthy thing for you to think of taking into considerations the far left, the far right, and everything in between, and form your judgment. But it's easy to go down that pipeline of one extreme or another, and look at it only through the guise of those glasses, right? And everything in the world you do is analytically based on that. But man, like I say, it was a very short window, but I found myself like, all right, let me pull away back from that because I'm thinking everything's like,
Right. Shit gets wild.
yeah, and it's easy to go down that rabbit hole. And I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about that kind of mentality.
It's tough not to do that though, because there are some conspiracies that are true.
And it's funny because on my next episode, I want to talk about this, but okay, let me give you an example here. Can you name a conspiracy theory that turned out to be true? I already have one at the tip of my tongue.
Was it Operation Northwoods?
Northwoods turned out to be true. There was actually plans by the CIA to use planes to crash into buildings to blame on the Cubans.
Right. Yeah.
And there was documented that like the CIA had plans to do that to try to build public support to invading Cuba.
There's that one.
So, but even then, that was only like, hey, we have this idea, and they documented it. And if we do this, we'll gain support for invading Cuba. But it still wasn't anything that was done. Not like it was only pen to paper, but it was nothing like we did this. So,
How about
Vietnam? I'll give you a hint. Vietnam War.
the Germans and the Japanese conspiring against us?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. So, like a conspiracy theory that turned out to be true. And one I could think of for sure, and I know there's a couple, but one I could think of right now that turned out to be true was the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Do you know what that is?
I've heard the name.
Okay, so America goes into Vietnam. We're sending advisors, and eventually we go full-fledged soldiers. Like we're sending 25,000 soldiers to Vietnam, Air Force bombing and everything. But there was a trigger point that got us involved in it. And it's called the Gulf of Tonkin incident. And what it is the Gulf of Tonkin is the Gulf of water, like the sea right there by Vietnam. We had an aircraft carrier there. We probably had some other battleships there. Not battleships, but warships there. And what we said was that the Vietnamese and their little boats, because they didn't have any like naval power, but their little boats, they attacked our warships, and we used that as a pretense to go to war in Vietnam. So that was the reason that we officially went to war with Vietnam. And the conspiracy theory was, there's no way. Vietnam didn't have a navy. They have these little boats that they put guns on. There's no way they proved they were a threat to American ships or that this happened. Well, God, like 40, 50 years later, it came out that what they said about this not being true actually wasn't true. The conspiracy theory was true. It was not a theory indeed. It actually happened. There was really no attack on American ships in the Gulf of Tonkin, but yet it was sold as a pretext for us to go to war to Vietnam.
It never happened.
Never happened.
Crazy.
So conspiracy theory that was actually true, which it's funny because you think about it. A conspiracy theory, it adds more to. You have people that like conspiracy theory this, conspiracy theory that, and you're like, name one that's true. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And so now you have people like Flat Earthers say, well, geez, you can't trust the government because they've staged this whole Sea of Tonkin thing, and we went to war and 50,000 Americans died in Vietnam.
The Earth must be flat.
The Earth must be flat.
Yeah, it's silly.
It's silly. But yeah, that's actually one that's true, and then so like it lends credibility to the whole idea of like maybe there's other conspiracy theories that are true. There are actually a few that are true. Northwoods is one that is true in the sense that there was this plan to do that, but they never actually went through with it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. That they were talking about that in the 60s, and then it happened in the actual idea did happen with those Saudis at 9/11. Nuts. Okay, going back to the main topic. What else is going on in the movie business that we need to know? What do we need to know, Ardy? Tell us.
Things are about to pick up here in New Mexico. LA seems to be still not at the forefront of the industry anymore. Seems to be here, Atlanta, and India. And
okay, here's one thing I want to bring up with you. And I've thought long and hard about this, and I was going to bring it on with the next show as well. John Cena.
He's come a long way.
I've always liked John Cena.
Yeah.
Wrestler. He's very all-American.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Ex-Marine.
Right. Like, John Cena's cool. I always liked John Cena.
Intelligent.
So what the hell was the whole thing with this whole Chinese Taiwan thing? What the hell? Like, what the hell?
So, I think it's crazy. Like, I mean, good on him for learning a new language, but damn, it's kind of crazy to the point where, yeah, it seemed like he got in trouble and he had to apologize and learn.
Like, I like what you say. Good for him for learning another language. He apologized to the Chinese Communist Party in Chinese.
That I don't agree with.
He's a god. He's American.
I mean, he is American.
He sold out.
But he did sell out. And I think that shows to be true with his like public shaming at the Oscars.
And what do you mean public shaming? I miss it. I don't know this. Like, what happened? Public shaming at the Oscars.
So people are theorizing and think it's like some Illuminati shit. But he actually presented at the Oscars butt naked.
I remember that.
Yeah. So people.
No, I do remember this.
People are wondering if it's like Illuminati or like Scientology, like type of shaming.
They said you have to do this or you're out.
Right. Or he's just showing that he has a sense of humor. Who knows?
What do you think? What's your gut tell you?
I think he's trying to break into the industry and make as much money as he can.
Yeah. I'd be down. I would be down for that. If I had his personality, if I had his looks and his body, and I had a chance to do something outrageous to make money, I would flaunt it. Yeah. I'd flaunt it.
It's investment. Or, I don't know, his last big movie, which was Zac Efron, that went straight to streaming, and it was such a good movie.
Which movie was that?
Ricky Stenicki. It's on Prime Video.
What was it? Because I think I saw it.
So it was three guys who they blamed this guy Ricky who lived in there.
Yes,
they made up a guy to blame,
and so when they needed a real Ricky Stenicki, they reached out to him.
So like, yeah,
cool premise for a movie. Cool premise for a movie.
I think it's pretty genius. It's if I'm not mistaken, one of the same directors who did Dumb and Dumber.
Really?
And it's really funny. I personally liked it. That's one of my favorites I've seen recently.
No, you're right. Ricky Snicky was a good movie.
You did see it?
I did see it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I like the whole idea that they actually needed somebody. They were all telling lies about it and everything, and then he plays it off perfectly.
Yeah, I think they're probably making him trying to work up to the top because had that been a Rock movie, that would have gone straight to theaters.
So, for being a guy like The Rock, I guess that came from WWE, he's actually a pretty diverse actor.
Yeah.
Like acting wise, I think he's diverse. He can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But in terms of this whole Chinese thing,
I mean, it happened a while ago, but I'm sure. I mean, every little detail like that, like every downfall, that has to do with your entire career.
So here's my thing about it. John Cena, to me, is like an epitome of what I want to call like a good American boy.
Yeah, he's a Boy Scout.
Good looking, strong, athletic. You know what I mean? He can do a lot of cool stuff. Like, I'm not knocking his career at all.
Sure.
But if he represents what we would consider like an all-American boy, all-American values, and he goes to Taiwan and says something about the Taiwan, we support your country, whatever, to Taiwan. You know what? America is a republic. We call it democracy, fine. We're not a democracy. We're no republic. But still, we stand by these American values of equality, of liberty and everything. And for him, because I don't know where Chinese involvement with Hollywood is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's investments. I don't know what it is. But for him to come out then and have to apologize to the Chinese Communist Party, he's not apologizing to the Chinese people.
No.
He's not apologizing to like the movie industry.
No.
That apology goes to the heart of the Chinese Communist Party. And I hate to say this because I really like John Cena.
Same.
Grow a pair of balls and do the right thing and
Right.
stand beside what you said the first time and support another democratic country that is on the verge of oppression from a communist monster aggressor.
It's clear fear of being canceled by the powers that be because there are a lot of
I think that's
Chinese
well said.
productions.
I think
But
that's
at
well
the
said.
same time, if I'm wearing his shoes, I say fuck what anybody thinks and do what I need to take care of my family.
Because it comes down to money. Is China heavily vested in Hollywood anymore?
Oh yeah,
Like
they've-
hardcore invested?
yeah they've started. So they've started up their own production companies that I believe Matt Damon has gotten involved with, and
China has. Really? Like, what is it? Do you know? Like,
there's a let me see. There's a production company who
I'll Google Chinese production company
add film to that.
film. China Film Group Corporation. Does that ring a bell? Is the largest, most influential film enterprise in the People's Republic of China, owned by the Central Propaganda Department of the Chinese Communist Party. Let me add to that in the U.S. The China Film Group Corporation. That still comes up. Wow. So the number one Chinese film company is owned by the propaganda department of the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, 12 Chinese-owned media companies from Dick Clark Productions to AMC. Whoa. AMC Theaters. Wow. So AMC Theaters. Let's see. Wanda, real estate agent and entertainment conglomerate owned by China.
Oh shit! So check this out. I'm looking at movies that I recognize.
Theaters. Jurassic Park.
I'm looking at movies that they've produced that I recognize. There's The Monkey King. Then there's a couple other ones that I don't know. It's like they sound like kung fu movies. Then you have a movie that was pre-John Cena, Furious 7.
Wow, Furious 7.
Pixels, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2.
Okay, obviously, but yeah, well, that was a cool flick.
Warcraft, The Great Wall, which I think was that Matt Damon movie.
Mm-hmm.
My Best Friend's Wedding, which is a remake in China in
Wow.
2016.
Which comes across as a completely American movie.
Mm-hmm. Then next up is Fate of the Furious, the 8th movie.
Wow.
A bunch of other names that I don't know. But yeah, they seem to be
Heavily invested.
heavily invested and involved in U.S. Film production.
Dick Clark Productions.
So they bought that clearly after he died.
Some of these companies I don't know. STX Entertainment. The
I know STS.
World Triathlon Corporation. I Am Global.
Yeah.
Studio 8. Dichotomy Creative Group. I don't know if you know any of these names.
STX, I know.
This one I knew. Circle de Soleil, Riot Games. Wow, I'm the fact that they're so the top two or three on the list is AMC Theaters, Carmike Cinema. I don't know Legendary Group, but I think the Legendary Group was involved with Jurassic World. So the fact that so many of these were so are like these companies that you think are like all American companies, but they're not. Voltage Pictures is a production company behind The Hurt Locker and Dallas Buyers Club.
Great movies.
Wow, that's kind of weird because like the Chinese Communist Party is as anti-American as it gets. But they're heavily invested so heavily invested in Hollywood that a guy like John Cena, again, all-American guy, has to say in Chinese he apologizes for calling Taiwan a country. Taiwan a country that is democratic in nature, same freedom and liberty ideals as America, or maybe close to it, I don't know. That he would do that. That blows my mind. That blows my mind.
That's the definition of selling out. It really is. It makes you wonder what would have happened had he not done that. Would they have canceled him?
And mind you, I like John Cena,
I
but I
do too.
stand behind what you said. Selling out.
Yeah.
John Cena sold out to the Chinese Communist Party, and he should embody what his American is.
I mean, as a Marine, absolutely.
I mean, a Marine in WWE. It doesn't get any American than that. Drink a beer while you're doing it, while eating a freaking steak, and you're 100% American wearing a Cowboys hat.
And wearing jean shorts.
Yeah.
Jorts.
Yeah, jorts. Wear jean jorts.
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 Make jorts great again.
That when I was I read that and I was shocked. I was like, not John Cena, and I saw the video and I was like, he did apologize.
We can see you now, you fuck.
cross. You ruined yourself for me.
Yeah.
I kind of held you up here because I thought you were cool because you're not like Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, George Clooney. You're John fucking Cena.
Yeah.
That
Still
would
just
suck.
a wrestling boy at the end of the day. And no major loss, but
I just thought he just had a cool factor for me. He had a cool factor for me. I liked him because he was a musclehead that made it, and he seemed like he had a head on his shoulder. And for me, I believe in the whole all-American Boy Scout thing. We're America, and we need to stand besides people. We need to stand behind people that stand for liberty and freedom.
100%.
100%. So that sucked. You know?
Time will tell on that one. He seems to be coming back,
I know,
but I think he did lose a lot of respect too.
Okay, so speaking of China and Hollywood, which blows my mind, when I read that list right now, their investments in all like AMC, AMC stands for American Movie Corporation.
Right.
Holy crap! TikTok. What's your take on that? Like, what's going on?
Do you have a TikTok?
I do. I don't use it all that much.
I worry about that because I'm like,
and let me tell you, when I get on there, I like the cute girls. Oh my
sure,
god!
no, same.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, without a doubt.
It gets my testosterone going early.
Oh,
in the
big
morning.
time. My testosterone goes through the roof with it. TikTok.
I don't have a TikTok. I think anyone who has it and makes money with it or has any bank account linked to it or buys anything off of it, don't be surprised if your funds disappear one day.
Yeah.
And I think we sped that up now.
Owned by a company that is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
But still based out of what, Malaysia?
So here's the thing with TikTok, and I don't know if you know this. The TikTok that they use in China is nothing like the TikTok here in the United States.
It's educational, yeah.
Educational.
And over here, they have is dancing. Like, I had a comedy joke that said, oh, look, everyone's worried about World War III, but TikTok has their kids dancing literally like fools.
Yeah. And the algorithm is made to be that way, to undermine our society.
Right. They get a limit. Like, after, 9 p.m., they shut it down.
Right, they do.
But here, we can drone on all night, 24/7.
And so there was a little girl. Oh, man, I wish I saved this. She was bullied on TikTok. I mean, we heard about it on Facebook, but now TikTok. And she was like a little girl, like 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she committed suicide.
Because of bullying, yeah.
I am not down with like this social media and kids killing themselves.
No,
That bothers me.
We need increased regulation somehow or make that super illegal. But apparently, when that happens here now, the bullies get charged with manslaughter.
Okay, which is fine. They go after the bullies, but they had not changed the root problem. The root problem is the program and the algorithm behind the program. And it's targeting, okay, did you watch that movie Social Dilemma on Netflix?
Not all of it, no. I started it. I need to finish it.
So I think that movie was pretty spot on how they figure psychology and they break it down to an algorithm and they figure out what's gonna drive you on the app, and they get little kids that are checking it all the time. Did I get liked? Did I get liked? Did I get liked? And I mean kids, adults too. They're balls deep on this. The app has gotten into their brain too, and it drives them now. And the fact that little kids are on there and it alters their behavior, and then you have a kid that kills himself. My mind's blown. That's all I can say. My mind is blown.
It's too powerful.
That's a really good way of saying it. No, it's too powerful. And so I have no issue with the federal government stepping in.
Me either. I'm all for it.
The federal government needs to protect Americans, needs to protect kids, and if it's by divesting TikTok and quite frankly, if they don't change their algorithm, I think if any of these social medias don't start changing their algorithms and stop targeting children, then they need to be held on charges.
Absolutely held accountable.
Absolutely. I'm just.
It all goes hand in hand. It's between that and the AI.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet really just changed the world after '97.
Do you remember, what was your first experience with the internet? Let me ask you.
Using it at the Las Cruces High School library and just looking up whatever I want. I was mostly looking up stuff about films and urban legends.
Urban legends?
Yeah. Snopes. I was in early Snopes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. I remember, I remember dial-up. I remember having AOL dial-up.
Yeah.
You've got mail.
That sound.
Yeah. Oh,
and
my God.
It wouldn't go through. You're like, shit, I got to try again.
And your monitor showing up a pixel at a time.
Like a phone. A
It's
phone lifting.
dude, that's so cool.
We had no idea.
I remember my first computer being delivered in a cow pattern box.
It was a gateway.
Mm-hmm. And I remember being when UPS delivered it, mind blown.
It was like when Scholastic gets the book fair
Oh my God.
orders coming in.
I remember chat groups online, like AIM.
Dude, don't get me started.
Right. I mean, there wasn't texting, there wasn't WhatsApp. We were chatting using instant messenger chat, and then me and my buddy, we used to go into chat rooms where you play pool.
Mm-hmm.
and we play each other pool against each other on the chat group, me and my buddy, and we were sitting next to each other in the computer lab.
Yep.
Like, we were so stupid.
I remember like being in chat rooms, seeing if there's like any scandalous going up. Everyone always asking ASL, age, sex, location.
Oh yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my god.
How
Oh my god.
could you be more straight to the point?
And like the internet is like the most powerful like societal change thing since the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Since like sliced bread, fire. And what was like one of the first things that came out of the internet? ASL, age, sex, location.
Mm-hmm.
That did not take long.
No,
at all.
not at all.
At all.
Straight to the point. It's
Straight
all
to the point.
It's all 14, female, Tucson. I'm like, nope,
Nope.
nope,
Nope.
not touching that.
Okay. Goodbye.
Like, hi, I'm Chris Hansen. Please sit down. No,
I know, God.
no, thank you.
God bless it. That's crazy to think that, like, so my dad used to tell me, and my dad, he passed away maybe like 3 years ago when he was 85. He was old, born in 85. And so on those nights where we'd be sitting outside on the picnic table in his yard and we'd be talking, he goes, you know, your granddad, he saw airplanes go to flight. When he was born, people were still riding horses. And he saw telephones. Like, he starts listing off, your granddad saw, like...
The industrial age.
Yeah. Plane, like, moon landing. Like, all that stuff, right?
Dude, it's crazy that he saw planes going to flight and then that we go to the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apollo shit.
In his lifetime. I mean, in our lifetime, well, you're born in 83. Do you remember the fall of the Berlin Wall?
No, I think one of the earliest things that I saw on TV and I remember seeing was the Challenger explosion.
Yes. I was in school when I saw that.
It was 86. I was 3. We were in service merchandise.
6, so I don't even think you're in kindergarten yet.
No, when that happened, I was 3.
Okay, so I remember I was in school in the 2nd grade watching the Challenger exploded and thinking, like,
The fuck?
was that supposed to happen? Like I didn't fully grasp, like, Christy McAuliffe, the teacher on there.
So
like,
sad.
I didn't notice. I didn't know till later on, like, oh, people died.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big deal. But then, like, the Berlin Wall. Like, when the Berlin Wall happened, I knew something big was happening. That was, like, big. I saw Princess Diana get married.
I kind of remember that.
My mom stayed up till like 2 in the morning to watch Princess Di get married.
I feel like I kind of remember Reagan getting shot.
That's a tough one for me. So, the first presidential election I remember happening was Reagan, and I don't know who Reagan was running against offhand. It starts with an M, I think. Anyways, so Reagan was running for election, right? And I'll never forget, as a little kid, thinking like Reagan, and for some reason in my head, Reagan meant Ronald McDonald. And then when they said it was the race, it was the race for the election, right? So I remember thinking, so these guys that are running are going to be president. They're going to have a race, like a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they going to run? Like, whoever wins that race is going to be the president? Like, I was such a stupid little kid.
Is it Dukakis?
And I remember, like, thinking, okay, Ronald McDonald's going to be in the election, and he's going to run against who? No, Ronald McDonald came later because it was like, or not Ronald, Dukakis came later against, was it a Bush Sr.? And I remember Jesse Jackson was a nominee at that time.
Yeah.
Was it a Bush Sr.?
I thought it was Dukakis Reagan.
Was it Dukakis Reagan?
I could be wrong. It might have been
I could
Bush.
be wrong, too.
Might have been Herbert Walker.
But I'll never forget thinking as a little kid, presidential elections were based on a foot race, like a sprint.
I kind of, yeah.
Okay, if it was if elections were based on a foot race right now, you had to run the 100 dash run, right? 100-meter run. Who would win? Who would win right now?
Oh, Trump. Trump is smoking his ass. Dude, Biden's going to be like, what direction we go? Wait, this is a race. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Get my walk. I think I went poopy.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
With the change of presidents, how do you think that affects your industry?
So I feel like I don't think presidents affect that. I think the governorship is going to change that.
The governorship affects it.
Yeah.
In what, I mean, like what way?
Because the Susana Martinez was trying to shut down the tax incentive. We almost lost the film industry just based on that. She was arguing that, it hasn't made enough money. And one day a number was spread around on social media saying, hey, call your state representatives, let them know that we need this industry and tell them why. And I made my call that day and they didn't do it.
Wow.
She was, because I believe at that time it was like a 25% incentive, and that's why a lot of people from LA and other states and cities are coming.
Not having to pay taxes on that kind of money, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like not having to pay that the money on taxes on that, that's a huge saving. And
it's up to 40 now.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And it's making.
So you think the governorship has more impact on media's, movie industry in the state they're in, than versus presidential elections?
Most definitely.
So then why the hell are they still in California then?
I mean, they're there, but I mean, that's really where the industry really took off. It started out like all of these production companies were going from like New York and the East Coast, and they moved into LA.
Because quite frankly, California, like the taxes and everything in California is so absurd.
Yeah.
Like how much money are these movie companies paying to California state?
Now they're losing. Like there's no question they're losing money, and that's why. I mean, there's an exodus of people who are trying to leave because of finances, and now it's kind of fucked up because apparently in California, if you leave now,
you have to pay an exit tax.
You have to pay an exit tax.
What the hell?
It's fucking corrupt. That's corrupt. That's the definition of corruption.
That's the definition of corruption.
I wouldn't pay that shit. I tell them, fuck you, come get it.
And in the most recent movie called Civil War, they had California secede with Texas, the two most opposite states. Talk about bringing it a full circle there.
I mean, that seems to be that has to do with the delegates, I guess, and population, and like with the two largest places seceding, it means like, Californians are playing possum. It turns out that they're actually more conservative than you realize.
You know, if California and Texas made their own union, like the amount of industry and money those two states make combined and population-wise, I mean, that would be a very powerful. I mean, Texas alone. I mean, like when you go to the hospital to give birth, they probably give the baby a beer and a gun when they're coming out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's a boy. Here's your beer and here's your gun. I will give you a hamburger while you're at it too. Right?
Absolutely.
Like Texas. Wow. So anyway, I've wondered that about California. How's the movie industry stayed there so long with taxes and everything else?
It's the history.
Unions. And what is that? What is that union movement coming out of California?
The Teamsters?
No, there's and they're trying to push it nationally. This came out of California. Let me see if I can Google this. One day I'm gonna have somebody that sits here and Google stuff for me.
Someday.
I mean,
like, pull that shit up, Jamie.
I'm never gonna have my own Jamie. Let's see.
Not with that attitude.
I can do it, man. I can do it.
I'll Jamie
California,
this shit.
Union.
You want me to sit on that corner next time Dadio's in here? I'm down.
California Union legislation. There's legislation that they're trying to pass, and people are really against it, and but they're trying to pass it nationally. Oh my God, I can't think of what it's called. Who's that guy that did those dirty jobs?
Norm Macdonald. Oh, the show Dirty Jobs?
Where he's like in the sewer and he's all that.
He did stand up for a while. What's his name? I'm going to find that.
Dude, I know you know who this guy is.
I can see his face.
Mike
Rowe.
I even saw his video on that. And That's what I actually got. I came to. Like I realized what it was, and it the Pro Act. It's called the Pro Act, and so in California, you have a lot of companies that work with Hollywood, but they're like small companies and they do subcontracting. You have say like you're an individual,
Yeah.
and you're your own company, and you subcontract because maybe you're good at like I don't know costume design or something like that. So something about it that you as yourself could not become your own contracted company because you have less than so many employees and you're not unionized or something like that, that you could no longer do that.
Yeah.
Unless
I'm
you're-
not super familiar with it.
Oh, it's called the Pro Act, and let me see if I can find an abstract what it is. But it comes from. Oh, excuse me, I'm burping away right now from the bang. I think.
Bang, bang.
So it's called what is the Pro Act? It's out of California. This is legislation from California, and they're trying to pass it on a national level. So the basis of it is supposed to be good. Okay. So our nation labor laws are woefully outdated and have become ineffective as a means for working people who working people to have our voices heard. So what the Pro Act is supposed to do, you as an employee, you should have the right to get with your coworkers and determine, do we want to go union? Do we not want a union? A lot of big companies don't want you to unionize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's power in numbers. As an employee, you should have the right to do whatever's good for you. But there's a lot of legislation in the Pro Act that would limit a lot of employees. Let me see here. This abstract says the bill's policies would curb workers' choices, threaten jobs, and increase costs of employers, including overriding states' right to work laws, limiting Americans' freedom to work as an independent. So this is the one: limiting Americans' freedom to work as independent contractors, and allowing boycotts at businesses not involved in labor disputes. So the initial argument for the Pro Act is like, you as an employee, you should have a right to choose what you want to be a part of, as all employees should.
Right.
It's American. You should have the right to choose what you want to do with your employment and your fellow employees. But part of the Pro Act is this thing about independent workers. And it's like, say with Hollywood, there's a lot of independent workers. And they can no longer be an independent worker because of the Pro Act. It has something to do with like the amount of employees they have. And an independent worker may only employ themselves. So they can no longer subcontract as an independent worker with a large company because of the Pro Act. Something like I say, has to do with the amount of workers you have. But if you were a graphic designer as an independent worker, and you're told you can no longer do this. It's only you and your receptionist. So you're not big enough to be an independent worker no more. So that's gone.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, shitty.
That's shitty. And every American should be afforded the opportunity to work and create their own business, even as an independent contractor.
Agreed.
And so that's the major argument against the Pro Act, that it's going to eliminate your ability to be an independent contractor. Like if you find your niche that you make realistic hair for animals. And all these movies come because they have dummy animals, but you make them look real because of the hair you put on them. You can no longer contract independently with them.
Wow.
That is the main argument against the Pro Act. The argument for the Pro Act is you as an employee have the right to choose if you want to like do like a union, get with your fellow employees and fight for your rights, which you should have the right. Like you should have the right to do both. To get with your fellow employees and determine if you want to go union or something, or whether you want to be an independent contractor. You should have that right. And so the Pro Act, under the guise of protecting employee rights to do that, there's also a part of it that will eliminate independent contractors' ability to contract with large companies making hair for animals because you're too small of a company. And that comes from California.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. California.
Sellouts.
Yeah. Anyway, so okay, so we're going on and on now. Any final thoughts on Hollywood? Any movies that you think we should keep an eye out for? What do you think?
I'm really excited about Deadpool Wolverine. I think that's going to be the shit.
Okay,
I'm
Deadpool.
super
How cool?
stoked. Do you have Disney Plus?
Huh?
Disney Plus?
No, but I'm thinking of looking at my subscriptions because I think I do subscribe to Hulu already on the side.
So if you do the package plan, you get Hulu, ESPN, and Disney.
So my question about that is, if you get the what is that called, the package?
So I think it's like the family package
Or something like
yeah.
that, or Plus, Apple Plus, which includes Disney, Hulu, and ESPN. Do you get to watch the UFC fights on it, the big ones?
So no, the big ones you'll have. So if you have ESPN Plus, you'll have access to pay-per-view, but you'll have to pay for those events.
Oh, okay.
The fight nights, the ones that happen weekly now,
Yeah.
you'll get those for free.
Because I was thinking about getting it to get the big UFC fights.
No,
That's
I would
my
do it
motivating factor.
If you want to pay-per-view those fights, get it because you're gonna need ESPN Plus to do it in the first place.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm putting my Apple subscription choices in your hands right now, Ardy.
Yeah, get the family plan.
I mean-
and when you do on Disney Plus, start watching X-Men '97. Fucking amazing.
Really?
Like it's the continuation of the animated series that came out when we were kids, and
really?
it's badass. I just finished
Really?
it 2 days ago.
I have not watched it. I will definitely
Yeah,
watch
X-Men '97 is amazing. It's taking the old animation, and it's whole new shit, man.
it. Any final thoughts on people like you trying to come up in the acting world for the world?
Never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up.
I've got my hopes high for you, man.
Thanks, man.
Dude.
I hope we're going through some premieres sometime soon.
Dude, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I'm super excited. That's... How old are you?
41.
I was going to say, if you're like 29, if you were 29 and I was in your shoes, I would say, go for it. Why not? Chase your dreams.
I'm not married. I don't have kids. I just got my jobs. I'm going to go for it.
Dude,
Balls to the wall. I'm going.
Go for it. Hell yeah.
Now that we've gotten the holidays out of the way, we've gotten the wedding out of the way,
Yeah.
gotten Memorial Day out of the way, I have my next examination for the court program in June 15th. I'm just going balls to the wall with that, doing auditions and trying to work out.
You know, Danny Trejo.
Yes.
Guy gets out of jail.
Machete.
Hardcore mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his life. I went through the whole thing about his upbringing and all that. If he can walk out of San Quentin with his hardcore life, and he can make it in Hollywood,
Anybody
Anybody
can.
can.
Anybody fucking can.
wow. Well, let me ask you one last thing.
Sure.
What is your ideal role? What kind of role would Ardy play?
Oh, I want that John Cena role where he could be dramatic, but still humorous, but not sell out to Chinese.
Amen to that. I will support that.
Ricky Snicki. I want to work with Andrew Santino. I'm going to put that out there. I'll work with him.
Santino, if you're out there, Ardy is a fan, and he wants to work with you.
Big fucking
Great
fan.
guy. Great guy.
Put
We
me
had
on
a
Bad
good time.
Friends. I want to be on
Good
Bad
time
Friends.
at the wine festival. He likes to drink wine.
I love wine.
Oh my god.
All the sweets. It got a little winded, but we got faded. It was nice.
Hell yeah, man. I hope to see you on. I hope to see. I want to watch to see where your life goes. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna send you some reels. Watch like the next big movie I'll do. Send you a copy.
I'll be like, hey, make me an extra one of your movies, man.
Hey, we can do that. We can definitely do that right now.
The fall guy.
Oh, I need to see that. Yeah.
I kept on thinking the whole time of like, I can do that. I can be a stunt guy.
I just want to do stunt driving courses. That'd be sick.
That would be sick.
But, I mean, they teach for that. Like you can
Really?
put yourself through stunt driving training, and then it'll be stunt combat training, and just expand on that whole world. But a lot of those fuckers get injured or die.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, the guy who did doubling for Harry Potter, one of them went paralyzed to the point
What?
where Daniel Radcliffe still like sends him money and stuff.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, a kid got paralyzed doing one of the stunts.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. There's a documentary about that stunt that stunt
What is
guy.
that called?
I have no idea. Let's find out.
I mean, we got to put that out there to the 20 people that watches us. Daniel Radcliffe, I'll put stuntman documentary. There it is. Oh man,
David
Holmes, the boy who lives. Wow.
Yeah. So apparently he's paraplegic.
Examines what happened after Radcliffe's stunt double was paralyzed while filming a Harry Potter sequel. God.
But yeah, apparently Daniel Radcliffe still sends him a piece.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's because, correct me if I'm wrong, like stunt people, they don't get the same Hollywood contracts and protections and all that stuff, right?
No, they don't get Oscars.
Royalties, Oscars.
No. They should.
It's like if you're a stunt guy, you walk in,
You're
it's
signing.
like, hey, dude, I'm going to pay you $1,000 to jump off that building. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. You're signing off
And
your
you
life.
and you have to have stones to do those stunts.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're gambling, essentially.
You are
Like that
gambling.
guy, I don't think the industry is looking out for him. I think that's why Radcliffe is sending him the money. I need to watch that. I'm going to watch that after The Boxer.
The Boy Who Lived, the boxer. You're gonna have to shoot me. You're gonna have to shoot me a text of what we're gonna watch.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk about it next.
But yeah, we should get Dario and go see Dune.
Dude,
Sneak in some drinks.
like Dune is like,
Every time someone says worm, you take a drink.
yeah. Oh gosh.
Sounds like tequila to me.
In college, we used to play a game called Rails on the Road. Do you know what that is?
No.
I almost don't want to say it, admit to that we did this stuff. So when you're driving on the road,
Mm-hmm.
do you know the guardrails?
Sure.
I don't know if I want to give this up because it's so
You might have
highly
to
illegal.
tell me off.
I was in my 20s, and we did foolish stuff in our 20s, but something along the lines of like, while you're passing a rail on the road, the guardrail,
Mhm.
you had a drink while you're.
Jesus Christ. That's wild. I'm glad we don't do that
Now
anymore.
the driver didn't do that. All of us passengers would.
That's fine. I mean, it's an open container, but as long as the driver's not sipping, that's fine.
No. Oh my God! Can you imagine if the driver did that?
Could you imagine Jeanette driving
Oh.
and we're doing that?
Oh God!
Trying to go to El Paso?
I mean, just from city to city, you know how many guardrails you pass?
It's nauseous.
It would be a mess.
It's nauseating thinking about trying.
So if you're listening to this, never play this game.
No.
It's horrible.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home.
No, please don't. Friends don't let friends play guardrails.
Oh my God! College was a crazy time for me. We could talk about our college stories another time, I guess.
No, yeah, I don't think we need a whole podcast for that alone.
Ugh.
Just Aggie shit.
You're the guy giving us Hollywood updates. I have my other people that come on, and I have 2 other guys I want to get on here pretty soon. But you're the one that has like the Hollywood connection. You're the one that gives us good updates and
Put the good vibes out there. I'm hoping by next episode I talk to you and you're like, yeah, I got the role.
I'll make a web page based off of your movie. What do you call it? Recommendations. That's what we'll do. We'll do. Who are those 2 guys?
Siskel and Ebert,
You're gonna be the Siskel and Ebert here.
I'm down.
You're the Siskel and Ebert.
In the words of Wolverine, let's fucking go.
Oh, that's another one we have to watch too.
Oh, I'm definitely watching that.
If
I'm microdosing for that one.
if it comes on Apple, I'll buy it and we'll watch it here on the TV. Or
The
something.
Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine?
Dude, I've been
No, we got to watch that in theater.
and as much. So what's cool about that is Deadpool talks so much shit about Wolverine.
July 28th.
Dude,
Let's fucking go.
let's see if we can do a Dune one here pretty soon.
Oh, I'm down for that.
I'm down for that. That'd be cool. And if we end up at some weird places afterwards in another state, and it is what it is. It was movie night,
Because it can't be what it's not.
dude. I was glad you came on, man.
Me too, man. Thanks for having me.
You're the first one here on our next iteration of our setup. I've got stuff coming in, so hopefully we'll dress it up a little bit. We'll have a poquito, professional podcast still going on here. But I appreciate your updates, man.
I appreciate yours.
Dude.
Thank you for being a bad friend.
No, thank you for being an awesome person, man.
Thank you for being a good friend.
Ardy, thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Cool. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, man. Cool.